People are like, what's going
What
on?
are you doing? You're like, it's a one hitter. They're like, oh, okay, carry on.
Seriously. All right, there you go. Hard start at that topic, so blame him.
My fault.
That's
But
why
I couldn't remember if I shared it with y'all
You
or
did
just
not
kept
share
it.
that. That's interesting.
No.
I like
No.
that. That's a good topic. All right, maybe we'll dive deeper back into it because on the Specs text line, some people have already contributed, which we appreciate all the time. 512-337-3776. You can hit us up on the Specs text line or via the Twitterverse. My man Harge is at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis in the Twitterverse, and I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. You can hit any of us up. All right, we'll get to the NFL schedule leaks, top of the 4 o'clock. We'll also get to some Longhorn football discussion. There are some early Heisman odds out, so we'll get to that too coming up in the next segment, and also get to Jimbo Fisher's comments because he's making the rounds too, just like the Texas Fight Tour. I believe the A&M equivalent of that is also going on too. So, all right. Let's get to some NBA discussion here, gentlemen. The playoff review. Last night, the Warriors were able to keep hope alive and get a big win over the Lakers. I think we all figured this was the way it was going to go down. The Warriors are a team with championship pedigree. They have championship DNA. They also are a team that's got a lot of pride. And we knew with this group, especially with Steph, now everything didn't go right for them, but with Steph and company, they found a way to pull out the win against the Lakers and keep this thing going to a game 6, even though it still looks pretty bleak, being down 3-2.
Yeah, and it's real interesting when you start watching how the game is being brought down. And I appreciate the fact, too, that you brought up the pedigree of them being champions and knowing how to go about it. And there was the conversation that we had yesterday. Right. And the conversation that we had yesterday was, can they reverse what LeBron did to them, where they can come from behind from 3 games and be able to come out and win it all. So this is something that everybody's kind of talking about now and seeing if it can happen, especially with the dramatic injury to Anthony Davis.
Hold on, you don't think it was a real head injury?
Bro, how many times have you seen the video? Like, I've watched it multiple times.
He got elbowed.
He got hit by this.
The
forearm. It wasn't the elbow.
It wasn't the.
He came out of the stadium.
Of the elbow. It was like the top of it. So you're saying no elbow?
I'm not
at all?
buying this.
All bottom of the forearm.
Oh my goodness! And the fact that he had to leave in a wheelchair.
Now I don't understand why that happened.
Come on, man.
Well, he was so dizzy because he was very dizzy due to the vicious blows by the Warriors.
Dude, that was. Listen, Looney's got a reputation for that too. His
are sharp.
He has a reputation for dropping in elbows on people.
Yeah,
he threw them bows.
He busted Sabonis' eye open.
Yes,
on the jump ball the other day on first series.
So I'm not saying that he did it on purpose. I'm not going there. I'm just saying that he's done it before, and the man's got some bows that do some damage. Now, was he diagnosed with a concussion? Do we know this?
No, because
so he was not diagnosed with a concussion.
And the reports are that sources around Anthony Davis say he's playing on Game 6.
Oh, of course he is.
Well, but if you have a concussion, that's not your decision.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's why they're trying to run away from the concussion discussion. They're trying to get away
from that. But you said it wasn't even a hard hit, so
it was not a hard hit. I just tweeted it at you. So I'm gonna let everybody look at that.
You got to pick a lane. Is it hard enough to be a concussion or not?
No.
Then he does. Then this is not theater. Then he actually doesn't have a concussion because it wasn't hard enough, and that's why he's gonna play.
I gotta take my glasses off so I can see what I'm saying to you. This dude is a great actor. Don't forget, he was in Space Jam 2. He is trying to be a part of this. There is no reason for Anthony Davis to actually fall to the ground like this. This goes back to the point of street clothes. This is the reason why people question his heart all the time. He is alternate days. That's what they call him too. Alternate days. He may play one game. He may not play the other one. It depends on what day.
How many nicknames does he have?
He is all of that.
And none of them are complimentary.
Zero.
No, his most complimentary one is the brow, and that's making fun of his eyebrows.
Exactly.
This guy, to me, he is the reason why people have questioned him throughout his career about his intensity and how he's supposed to be. Remember, he was supposed to take over the league. They were looking at him as that guy, and everything about him has been around injuries. Every single one of them. And that's why they're calling him Glass, Mr. Glass. That's why they're calling
nickname.
That's why they're calling him.
We should have a bell that rings every time a new nickname.
What'd you call him? Street clothes?
Street clothes.
Yeah. I mean, this guy, he is the one that is going to make the difference for the Lakers.
Yes, he is.
He is. And I'll tell you, I was surprised he stayed in the game as long as he did with how physical Draymond was guarding him.
And they
like
know
he was
that
one
now.
of those ones, if you go back, like there's points of games where I like watching certain matchups. And that was one you'd watch, and you were like, man, Draymond is getting away with murder over there. And big men do a lot, but he was basically turning him a lot and grabbing his arms and flipping him around and trying to do everything to throw him off of his game to where he would just, because he knows that Anthony Davis has a reputation to, when things get physical, start stepping further away from the basket and start playing a little bit lighter. And I'll give him credit. He didn't for most of this game, but it was, I think, at the end when the writing was on the wall and he gets hit, he's like, you know what, let's sell this one and try and get some calls in Game 6 because Steve Kerr won the battle of getting calls. That game definitely.
Because he complained in the postgame, too.
He complained in the postgame.
About them flopping.
Yeah. And that worked because the refereeing seemed to go more towards Golden State, that they were getting the free throw line plenty in this game, and the Lakers maybe weren't. But, I mean, it wasn't terribly rough game, not by any stretch. But I think when we saw how Draymond played in this game, and we saw Tom Izzo's there, if I'm Golden State, I fly Tom Izzo to every single game for the rest of the rest of the playoffs, because he's clearly Draymond plays better when he's there. And I think we talked about it, that shot at the end of the game where he passed the ball back out instead of going back up over Schroeder. I think when they went to the film room, they were like, Draymond, you have to at least threaten offense. And early in this game, he threatened offense and was getting layups because they're just not guarding him, because he doesn't normally play. And so that took a while for the Lakers to adjust to Draymond Green actually playing offense in this game and actually trying to score. And so we saw that was a huge factor in it. But the one problem for the Warriors is, I'd like to say, man, you got inside AD's head, whether physically or mentally, you got inside his head. But you still got to be able to hit threes if you're the Warriors, and they still shot terribly from the three.
Yep.
It's amazing. Yeah, because Steph right now, he actually is shooting currently right now in the playoffs, he's shooting 37, I think like 0.1% or something like that for the playoffs, and he's never shot below 37% in the playoffs in the postseason period. I think 37.7 is the lowest, actually. So right now he's shooting the lowest from three-point range in the postseason that he's ever shot. And this series particular, to Patrick's point, 35.8% from three-point range. And even last series, he wasn't stellar. Wasn't great last series. So I don't know if it's Father Time. I don't know if it's just, the focus on Steph and the other guys not pulling their weight. I think if you had Klay Thompson being a more effective second option, Jordan Poole was a more effective creator playing his role, I do think it would help out Steph. But right now the burden may just be too immense. And I'm not hating on Steph at all. Steph is amazing. Right now I think Steph, he's leading the playoffs in points per game. He's at 30.3 points per game in the playoffs, so he's been phenomenal. But any leads, I think, if you look at in threes and points, but still, I think to Patrick's point, you got to get Klay and Jordan Poole. They were 8 of 26 in Game 6 combined.
That is the biggest question that you got to continue to look at. And you talked about it. You just said it. The biggest burden on Steph is, I got to do this by myself, and against a team like this who does have LeBron James on the other side, who, by the way, hadn't been playing great basketball himself. When you start looking at his shooting percentages and how he's there, the numbers come up, but it's more in the volume situation. And then you factor in Anthony Davis, who we don't know what his status is going to be. He says he's playing, but how effective is he going to be? Is this the game that is his alternate days? AD, alternate days Davis, is this where it's going to be? Ding. So you start sitting here and you're looking at it, and you're looking at Steph and saying, okay, I do need help, and who's going to be the one? To your point, Patrick, Draymond came out and was playing like a man possessed. He was going hard into the paint. He was making sure that you were attacking people. And that's what originally I thought was going to be the factor for LeBron James. I thought LeBron James was going to do that because his shot isn't falling from the outside and he can get into the paint, but he's not even doing that. So to your point, Rod, you're right. It is going to be tough for Steph to carry that big burden of making sure that this team, because you're absolutely getting zero from Jordan Poole.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on with Jordan Poole, but Klay Thompson, I think, also a bigger mystery.
Yes.
Klay's more consistent than issues.
There's not a mystery. There is a mystery of why they're not fixing what they're doing. But Jordan Poole set up for a shot, set his feet, looked at the basket, and shot it. And it went right through the middle, right through the rim, nothing but net. And then the next shot he took, he was falling sideways.
Oh, yeah.
For no reason.
Nobody was even close to him.
No. And he's falling sideways, and he misses it. And you go, I get you're good. Do you practice falling sideways shots? Do you practice them as much, if not more, than straight ahead shots? No, you don't, do you? Because it's a stupid shot to take. So in practice, you practice shooting how you shoot. So that's why that shot's not as effective. Why? Why do you keep taking shots with your feet not set the way you want them to and spread out? Why do you keep not setting your feet? Why does Klay Thompson continue to try and move on the run? Klay Thompson has been bad at scoring on the run his entire career. That was I couldn't stand him when he played in USA basketball and he kept trying to be a scorer instead of a shooter. Klay Thompson's a great shooter. He's not a great scorer.
Yeah.
And there's a difference of those types of players. And he is one of the best shooters in NBA history. And then he just gets in his head that he's a scorer, not a shooter, and he tries to move off the ball. And you're like, no, do what Steph is known for and run through 3 screens, come out the other side, you're open. That's a three-pointer all day.
Yeah.
I don't know why they've gotten so far away from that. I don't know if the Lakers are just playing good enough defense that they're being able to continue to somehow bother them. But at some point, you just have to get back to the basics of you have 2 really, really good shooters trying to be scorers. Let them be shooters. Let other guys, let Wiggins, let Kuminga, let these other guys try and go be scorers, and you pass the ball back out when the defense collapses, and then you get shooters.
Yeah, Knicks with a big win, 112-103 to keep their playoff hopes alive. And the impressive thing was Jalen Brunson. He, once again, 38 points in 48 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Did not miss a minute. How about this? This is a great stat. Jalen Brunson played all 48 minutes through, and if you look at through Game 4, when he was off the floor, the Knicks were outscored by 21 points in the 30 minutes that he was off the floor combined in Game 4. So I guess they decided, you know what, the only way to fix it is he plays every damn minute.
Yeah, and I think he went over to Thibodeau and said, do not take me out of the game.
Awesome.
Because there was one point where he was looking to probably come out and they were waiting for him to tap. And he was like, nah, man, go sit down. I'm not coming out of this game. And if we're going to lose, I'm going to give it all that I have right here. And he went out there and played unbelievable basketball. I told y'all the other day, one of my son's best friends is a huge Dallas Maverick fan. He has season tickets, and he texted me yesterday. I miss him so much. Like, he means so much. And we underestimated. We saw it last year, what he was able to do when Luka was out. Remember, we were talking about, I was like, man, how is he going to be able to do this when Luka gets back because of the ball dominance? Well, he's turned himself into one hell of a basketball player, and now he's getting a chance to showcase it on the biggest and brightest stage in New York City for the Knicks. Now, I don't know if they're going to be able to keep this up because if Jimmy Butler scores 25 points, they win. If they don't, they lose, and that's been documented. So when I look at what Jimmy Butler is capable of doing, it looked like last night they were like, all right, man, we're not even going to keep you in the game that long. We'll make sure that we're ready for when we get back to Miami. So I believe that they closed this out, but shout out to the Knicks for giving us a little bit of a fight.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson, man. He was legit. And then the Knicks won this.
And we'll also shout Kyle Lowry's had a really good playoff so far. Did not have a great game last night. That's another big flank because Jimmy Butler played 43 minutes in that game.
Yeah.
He played a lot in that game, but he did not seem as effective as normal. Kyle Lowry really did not seem effective. So there may be some tiredness that they didn't necessarily prepare for this game and rest up the way they needed to, whether it was just travel or whatever the situation was. They didn't look like they were at 100% physically in this game.
Yeah, Knicks were way more aggressive, attempted 40 free throws, their highest total in any game this season, by the way, and they attempted twice as many free throws as the Miami Heat. Miami Heat are usually a more aggressive team. At least they have been in this series. They only had 19 free throw attempts. All right, we come back.
Rebounded them by 16 rebounds.
Yeah,
that's a lot for a team without without huge big men when they have Bam Adebayo on one team and you don't.
Yeah.
Knicks had 19 turnovers too,
That's
most of any team.
yeah.
But they
Got the
still
dub.
find a way to get it done. All right, we come back. We'll get into Quinn Ewers' Heisman odds. Jimbo Fisher made some comments that he thought was really funny. And then we'll also get into what Texas is doing with Ron Holland's letter of intent. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new theme Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn based on the selections, the songs that are played by Patrick. Harge and I are supposed to gather clues that lead us to the new theme of the day. Got any ideas here, Harge? What a night.
What a night. I don't know.
I do remember having a discussion on this show about this song that, and I think, Patrick, you told me that it's about losing his virginity.
I think one of our texters found this out.
Really?
That it was about losing his virginity. Yeah.
Okay. Now, did we have
That
It
is not
sounds
what
like it was a
it's
good
not-
night.
Well, what a night.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It sounds like it was a
That's
great
why it
night.
was a great-
That
That's
is
why
not what
he's-
it is. That's not what the new theme is.
No, I don't know. Look, that's all. Just trying to dig into the clues here. Okay, so that's not it. All right, Hard, you got no ideas either. All
I
right.
have no idea.
Okay.
Well, is it the schedule release?
It is. It is the schedule release.
There we
Oh,
go.
nice. There you go. Good job.
Just a stab. Just
Good
do a
job.
stab out
Stab
there.
in the dark. Yeah.
What
all
a night.
All the songs. This song is actually called December 1963. All the songs are date related.
Okay. Okay.
So special dates.
So dates, days of the week. They're calendar related.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So is it the schedule release or dates and
Well,
calendars?
no, but because of the schedule release, we are
The
doing
special
dates.
dates.
Because
Okay.
the schedule is dates.
Okay. All
Got
right.
You get it.
I got it.
All right. No, I get it. I get it. It's not a stretch at all. I
No,
get
no.
it. I know exactly how you were inspired by that. All
Yeah.
right. Specs text line 512-337-3776. That's the number to the Specs text line. You also can hit us up via Twitter. Harge is at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis. I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. All right. Let's talk about these Heisman odds from FanDuel. They have right now Quinn Ewers with the fourth best odds based on these Heisman odds to win the Heisman at plus 2,000. Harge, you like to wager every now and then.
I do.
He is
I'm
behind.
on a break right now, but yes.
He is behind. These odds have him behind Jaden Daniels of LSU, correct? Drake May at plus. These are all plus 1,500. Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and Sam Hartman. And Sam Hartman now at Notre Dame. Where's Sam? Notre Dame, correct? Transferred. Yeah, hard to keep up in the transfer market.
It is very hard to keep
Drake
up with.
May at North Carolina and Jaden Daniels is at LSU. And at plus 1,200, they got Michael Penix Jr. along with Bo Nix of Oregon. Michael Penix Jr., Longhorn fans remember him from Washington. And Jordan Travis plus 1,200. He is the Florida State quarterback, I believe, right?
Yes, he is. So let me ask you this.
And then Caleb Williams has the best odds at plus 500.
So with that and going through this list, and I love the fact that we got our man Cade Klubnik on there as well at plus 2,500. That's outstanding. I like that. But when you look at this list and you look at these quarterbacks and you look at the history of the Heisman Trophy ballot, it's been Archie Griffin is the last and only person to win 2 Heisman trophies.
Back to back.
Back to back. And we also thought that Tim Tebow, he was there. We thought he was going to get it. He ended up not winning it. I believe that was the year Sam Bradford got it, if I'm not mistaken, because it was Sam Bradford, Colt, and Tim Tebow there. So I'm wondering that. So when you start looking at this, I know it's plus 500. Do you truly believe that the voters would give it to Caleb Williams? And the only way he would get it again is if his team makes it to the college football playoffs or the national championship game.
Yeah, or it's
Because of the way people vote.
You basically have to be the best player on one of the best teams.
Yes.
That's what the Heisman Award is given to. It's not given to the best player in college
All
football.
the
It's
time.
given to most of the time to the quarterback, but usually what's considered the quarterback or the best player on the best team. And, yeah, so I'm with you. They got to make a run. They got to win the Pac-12 and be in the college football playoff discussion.
Yeah.
Same thing for Quinn Ewers, though.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
But I'm
getting back to that definition,
Yeah.
if Quinn Ewers is going to be fourth best odds to win the Heisman, and he would have to be on a team that's winning a lot of games, that's in a championship conversation, and he'd have to be playing or be one of the reasons they're in that championship conversation.
Yeah,
So
no doubt about
that's-
it.
and
But as you
hopefully
look
that's
at
the case.
and then look at this too. I mean, we're talking about this list. I know one of our texters is talking about Bo Nix still being in college.
Hey, man.
But, hey, man, what's the name is still in college. Michael Penix Jr. is still in college. Frank Harris is still in college. There's a dude at North Texas that's still
that COVID year, man, it added.
JT Daniels is still in college.
Between the COVID year and now the NCAA not wanting to fight any transfers or dispute any transfer waivers, guys just have pretty much free reign to go wherever they want, and they get an extra year.
And here's a unique story.
They're taking the redshirt year too, and the COVID year.
I think JT Daniels has played against Texas his entire college career. I think he's played a game
Was
against
he at Rice now?
He's at Rice.
Yeah.
They're going to play him in the first game.
No doubt. I mean,
He played at
USC.
USC, played him twice.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went to, he's been to every college, man. I mean, you're a talented 5-star quarterback.
Did he go to Georgia for a while?
He went to Georgia. And remember, he got beat out by Jake Fromm.
It's hard to keep up, man. They knew how to do these 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. 6 degrees of JT Daniels.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
No, I mean, I listen, I think there's a lot of, I saw CBS rankings. Tom Fornelli does their CBS quarterback rankings. Obviously, way too early. It's just projecting into 2023. He's got Quinn Ewers as his number 3 highest ranked quarterback in college football behind Caleb Williams and Drake May.
Yeah.
2 guys we know are going to be drafted
very
high in the first round, unless an implosion happens by Drake May. But we don't see that really happening. And if that happens, then his stock will drop. But they got him ahead of Michael Penix Jr.
That's crazy.
I mean, with Tom Fornelli, this quarterback rank, they got him ahead of Sam Hartman. Like I said, they got him 3rd on the list. So there are high expectations for Quinn Ewers this season. I think a lot of that is the faith people have in Sark as being a quarterback whisperer, quarterback nurturer. And honestly, what gives me a lot more confidence in Quinn Ewers' transformation or his evolution as a quarterback is something I heard Sark say when, shout out to my man Jeff Howe of Horns 24/7, because he's the one that dropped this audio to us, Sark on the Texas Fight Tour. I think this was in San Antonio, and now they're making the rounds. I think they went to Dallas. And Patrick, you had this sound. We played it yesterday, but this is my favorite piece of audio that I've heard Sark reference the development and transformation from year 1 to year 2 with Quinn Ewers and why I'm optimistic. Here it is.
Well, I think the biggest thing is confidence in the system and in themselves, right? Year 1 in our system is there's a lot of moving parts, and I think they can look really, really good in year 1 at times, especially when the primary reads are there and we call it right and we get that ideal coverage and the first or second guy in the progression is there to make those plays. The challenge is when those aren't there and it's not the coverage that we want, and now you're getting into your 3rd, 4th, 5th in your progression. You have to start using your legs. You have to start changing the play. You have to start changing protections. And I think in year 2, there's just such more of a comfort level in getting to those secondary type reads, getting to different plays, making those plays under duress because you can anticipate where people are going to be. And I think that's where Quinn's at. I was talking about that earlier today, that I just feel like there's a real sense of confidence. I was joking with him during spring ball after one of the scrimmages. I said, how different was this year compared to last? And he kind of laughed. He goes, man, last year I felt like I was just surviving in spring ball. It was practice number 7 or whatever it was in a new system. Now he's had all of last year and winter conditioning, and now I just think there's a sense of comfort. And now it's more about having that rapport with the guys around him and knowing what the types of players that they are.
Okay, so I think I think he did a great job of kind of describing it in a well-rounded way, but I think he's talking about second reaction plays, operating off script, improvising, and being able to operate off schedule when your initial read's not there, or when the play breaks down, which it initially will. It can break down for a number of reasons because there are 11 guys that have to do their job, and all of them got to be perfect. And trust me, all of them are not perfect at any given time on any given down. So it can be a breakdown in pass protection, receiver not running the right route, great play by the defense, maybe just a great coverage, great call, and you need the player to don't be a robot, all right? Be coachable, but don't be a robot. Go out there and be a football player and make a play. And I think now he's describing some of that about Quinn Ewers now and his evolution as a player, because players can look really robotic. I thought Hudson Card in 2021 was really robotic. Remember how indecisive he was, and he looked like he was rattled in the pocket, didn't have great poise, and looked at him in 2022, and he was much less robotic. He was coachable, but he was much less robotic, and he was able to make plays off schedule. That's half of football.
Right.
That's a lot of football.
That's being an athlete.
It's just it's off schedule. What do you do when the play breaks down, or when you have to kind of abandon some of your technique and your fundamentals and operate on instinct? And some guys have a lot more than others. Bill Walsh, the late great Bill Walsh, was once asked about, and this comes from Jim Harbaugh. I remember reading Jim Harbaugh's quote about this. He said that I spent time with Bill Walsh before he passed away during my first year at Stanford. And I asked him one day, what do you look for in a quarterback? And he said, athletic instincts. I asked Bill Walsh what he meant by that, and he said it means he's the best athlete in the entire high school. He could go make the basketball team, at least be the sixth man. He could go play soccer, swim. He could field balls, center field. He can be a shortstop. He could probably play be a switch man in baseball as well. He said, just like Joe Montana, you need instinctive, spontaneous. This is how you know he's just a brilliant man. An instinctive, spontaneous, natural response to situations that develop in games. That's what he describes.
Go be an athlete.
An instinctive, spontaneous, natural response to situations that develop in games. To me, that's just the great man describing operating off schedule. And, it's the it quality. We describe it as the it quality, right? It's hard to quantify what the it quality is. That's what he's talking about. That's the it quality. And you got to be able to see it, because sometimes it's really hard to define it. I think that's what Sark is describing now in situations he's observing with Quinn Ewers. Got to do it in the games, but at least you still got to be able to develop a baseline for it in practice.
Well, that's the conversation that you and I have had numerous times behind the scenes, talking about what we see from the quarterback position. I've talked about it the entire time. You can't go out there and be robotic. Once the play is called and is snapped, you have to go out there and make plays. Be athletic, get out of the pocket, extend plays, hit the man, make a read, do whatever it takes to diagnose and dissect the play and make something positive happen. For so many years, we had guys that were in this position that they didn't want to be athletes. They wanted to be robotic. Now we've got people out there talking about this. Yes, he definitely does not want to see a running quarterback. I don't want my quarterbacks to run, but I do need my quarterbacks to sometimes improvise. And if you can get out there and extend a play, whether you're extending it to run or you're extending it to make a throw down the field, you have to be an athlete and just take over. It's okay. Every read is not going to be a perfect read, but if you find out something that's positive in it and find out how you got to that point, it's a lot different. I couldn't agree more, and that's something that you and I talked about a long time ago. It's like sometimes these guys just look like they're wanting to make the right play instead of making a play.
Yeah, or make the perfect play.
The perfect play.
Yeah, I'm with you. You get to go. So I think that's what, at least that's my interpretation of what Sark was talking about.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not the only one who's expecting big things out of Quinn Ewers.
No, the nation is speaking.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the identity of this offense is going to revolve around Quinn Ewers'
Hugely.
ability to basically evolve his game to becoming an elite quarterback and becoming a quarterback that can reach his ceiling. And his ceiling,
right.
We all know the ratings, the recruiting ratings, his ceiling is supposed to be a ceiling that projects as high as to be an NFL first-round quarterback.
First round. Mid first round.
That's what. That's his ceiling. I'm not saying he's going to get there, but that is the hope. That's the upside. Okay, let's talk about the Aggies just for a second, because Jimbo Fisher, he is making his rounds. They have their version of the Texas Fight Tour. They're going around. And he made a comment about TCU and the culture of the Big 12 compared to the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
He said, quote, "They stayed healthy," referring to TCU. Quote, "They stayed healthy. They had a lot of experience. They got to where they've got to get to. And then when they got to the SEC, it changed, didn't it? When they got to the SEC, it changed." So I guess he's talking a little trash about the Big 12 and TCU. But TCU, I mean, Like I said, I still think TCU was probably one of the better teams in the country.
Exactly.
They just ran into a juggernaut.
And they were dealing with some injuries too
They did.
during that game.
They were dealing with some injuries.
Yeah.
But
They got to the mountaintop, they just got kicked off.
but yeah, I mean, honestly, when you have the record that the Aggies did, when you underachieved to that extent, you probably shouldn't be taking shots.
No.
And I know it. They said he did it in jest. He did
You,
it in
you
jest.
don't jest
But-
when you haven't won yet. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't be the one in there making those jokes if you have struggled yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's why everybody in the place was like, huh.
Yeah, it didn't get the response I think
Yeah,
you wanted.
exactly.
Yeah, because no one there cares. If, like, hey man, just because you made it to the SEC, that's your national championship.
Exactly.
Being in the SEC, because they made it to a national championship where we would like to be.
Exactly.
So maybe move us back to Big 12 if that's how we can get there.
Hey, man.
Exactly.
Because if you're telling me I can be in the SEC or in the national championship, I don't care what conference we're in.
Exactly.
Yeah, even for this offseason, Longhorn stopped taking shots at Horned Frogs. Like, nah,
Right,
not,
yeah.
not this offseason.
No,
You good.
We good right now. We good.
Good right now. We'll wait till next season.
No
'cause,
doubt.
Yeah, the Aggies went 5-7, dropped 5 of their 7 one-possession games, and the Horned Frogs, of course, as we know, competed for the national title. All right, we come back. We'll get into the flex on the other side, right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. New theme Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's when Patrick plays jams. That should lead us to the theme of the day. Harge actually got it with the first hint on the first song today. The schedule release of the NFL, which is happening later today, inspired Patrick to think about songs that refer to or about dates or significant dates or times or whatever.
Yeah, like this is Saturday in the Park.
There you go. I like that. Yes. Dates, times, different days of the week, all that kind of stuff. Months could be in there too, whatever.
Yep.
A certain year could be in there.
Yeah.
So my man Patrick always working hard. We appreciate his creativity all the time. All right, let's get to the flex here. FLXATX.com, FLXATX on all of your social media platforms. Go check out the website because yesterday's flex with the Flex crew is up there. We appreciate them as well. My man Zach Lucero, Nolan the Seed, Cameron, those guys working really hard for the Flex crew. So that was a great flex last night. If you missed any part of it, you can go check it out. They got the replay up there for you at FLXATX.com.
Yeah, last night they had on Coach Vieira of the Georgetown.
Because you know every damn body.
Yeah,
you know Coach too.
I do know Coach Vieira. His brother is now just recently named the head basketball coach over at Hyde Park on the women's side. Great family, great friends, and they're chasing their dreams again, trying to get to the state championship game. Also, baseball playoffs start tonight all over this area. So if you want to go out and check out a baseball game, there's definitely some places you can go and check it out tonight.
I like that. Speaking of baseball, I like this texter. So far, this theme also falls into songs played when returning from commercials during Texas baseball games category.
Nice.
Great
That
point
is
there.
true.
I'm sure Craig Way would appreciate that. Who picks all those songs? It's just whoever's
definitely
producing
is
them?
Craig.
Way.
Yes.
Craig Way. Oh.
Craig Way has picked all these songs.
That is a view into the Craig Way music snobbery. And Craig Way, I think he's a music snob. He won't admit he's a music snob, but he's kind of a music snob.
He definitely is a music snob.
But in a fun way. He's not going to tease you about your ignorance, but he is a music snob.
Because we've all done the music survey with
his
Craig
music
Way.
survey, that's his
right.
thing.
That's
you
right.
go.
I love that. That was good. That was fun.
It really was fun. I hope he brings it back. I thought he was going to bring it back in the offseason. Hope Craig Way, he's a busy man.
Yeah.
I mean, Craig Way's got a lot of stuff, but the music survey was really fun, selfishly for all of us.
And he's not in his off season because he is still working Texas baseball 3-4 days a week.
That's right.
Yeah, I know.
So he is not in his off season yet.
But this is the slowest time for him.
Oh
Think
no,
about it.
we've got this summer when college is out.
I guess you're right.
When college is out, before we get to football,
Yep.
that is the point where we're the slowest we get, and then it picks back up in like 2 months.
And Craig Way deserves his time off.
He does.
And
He
likes
does.
he and his beautiful wife, they'll go like hiking through the mountains or something
Yeah,
like
he
that.
said he always goes back to North Carolina.
He goes like backpacking
Yeah,
sometimes back
yeah.
in North Carolina.
Love it.
And yeah, he'll go to visit random diners and on drive-ins
Yeah.
and dives and stuff like that.
I love it.
Yeah, Craig Way, our Renaissance man. But yeah, go check out the Flex, FLXATX.com, FLXATX on all of your social media platforms. All right, gentlemen, let's get out early so we can get out early. Let's get out on time. Let's get out so that we can get into the schedule leak on the other side because that today is one of the biggest headlines. Of course, the schedule release, the unveiling, the reveal will be later tonight. So tomorrow we'll have all the details. But yes, there are plenty of leaks to discuss. We'll do that.
Hold on 1 second. And shout out to Lake Travis traveling to
shout out.
Dallas tomorrow
Shout
to
out.
try to win consecutive state championships
Shout out.
in lacrosse. So shout out to them as well.
There you go. Shout out.
Go
Rat-
get it.
it's
Go
the-
get it.
The Flex is all about shout outs.
There it is.
There you go.
It's a flex.
It's a flex. All right, we'll come right back. This is Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. We all know Austin is a beautiful city, and thanks in no small part to our good friends over at Ironworkers Local 482. They've been helping shape this great city since 1935. That's a really long time. You see the labors of their love all over this great city in exquisite landmarks and iconic landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And as the city continues to grow, our city continues to grow and thrive, so does Ironworkers Local Union 482. They don't go to the office, they build it. So if you're looking for an exciting new career and you want something fresh, something new, maybe you're frustrated with your work choices and your career path right now, how about becoming a member of Ironworkers Local 482 and accepting the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape our city's economic development? Right now, they're hiring over 3,000 people for a huge project. It's a big one, folks, right here in Central Texas. So you can become a member of Ironworkers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of our great city. So maximize your potential and be your best self today. Simply apply at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. Welcome back to Ball Dog Live right here on 104.9 The Horn. New theme Thursday. That's when Patrick plays jams that are supposed to give Harge and I clues as to what the new theme of the day is. Harge got it with the first guess. It was the NFL schedule release happening today. So, yeah, the song applies because a lot of people are celebrating, baby. It's a beautiful thing.
Same as the song, September.
I know.
September, that's right.
Officially, the NFL probably should try to get the rights to this. It would fit really good. But NFL schedule release, that inspired Patrick to play songs and jams that refer to dates, times, days, months, years, whatever it may be. So once again, his creativity is the key to a new theme Thursday. You can hit us up on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. That's the number to the Specs text line. Also, you can hit us up via Twitter. Harge at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis, and I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. Yeah, that's the jam right there, man. That still bangs.
It always.
That just wow. I haven't. It's been a long time since I've actually jammed that song. Now I'm going to be jamming that all week.
I got a chance to see them perform at the Moody City.
That's right. They were the first ones that opened it up.
They were the first ones to play there.
And how did that jam go?
Oh my gosh! You know everybody in there was singing that song.
They're a little old though, ain't they?
They are real old. they are real old,
but still all the original members.
No,
we're not sure.
No, we are 100% not true.
No.
Yeah, they are not all together.
Oh, well, how many do we even have majority of the group?
We were missing fire.
Yeah.
We had Earth, Wind.
They had dust and wind in there.
That is not funny.
It is
the way
not.
Sarge said it was funny. They were missing fire.
We're missing the fire.
Okay, all right. Well, then that jams. They
It does
made,
still jam.
A classic jam, no question. Plenty of them, actually. All right, gentlemen, let's get to the NFL schedule leaks that are out there. Let's start with the Cowboys, and then we'll get to other ones. So these are leaks, and remember, these are rumors. So they may not turn out to be true. All right, this may turn out to be wrong, but these are just some of the leaks. And I think the NFL, let's get to the official leaks, actually, then we'll get to the actual rumors and conjecture. Because the NFL actually has released games themselves. That's why I love the NFL. They make these unofficial, events, these unofficial holidays, basically.
Right.
And you got to give them props because they're brilliant. They essentially turn their administrative tasks and duties and responsibilities into events. Basically, the draft is kind of their employee. It's basically, you know what I mean? It's kind of their big employee fair, if you will, job fair. And they made a big event. They make the schedule release their big event. The schedule release is essentially kind of that should be almost like an internal memo.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Oh, man, this is your schedule.
This is where you're at.
This is where you're going to play. And no, the NFL turns it into a huge, big event. So you got to give them a lot of props for that, man.
They give them to Shefty.
You know,
They're
imagine,
giving all the insiders.
Your company gives you your employee schedule for the month or the year, the annual or the whatever it may be. All right, just for that quarter. That's what the NFL does, and it's a huge event when they release their employee schedule. So either way, their internal processes, their administrative tasks are always a big deal, and the schedule release is one of those. So they are actually now engaging in the schedule release leaks. They had their official schedule release unveiling, and their reveal is going to be on their shows. NFL Network, I bet, will have one, and ESPN is having one too.
ESPN and ESPN2 are having it. I'm like, so you're going to find any channel that you want.
It'll be there. So that's the official reveal, but the NFL leaks stuff out because they want to be able to steal the headlines from all the other sports, and they do a good job of that. So we do know, and this is from the NFL's website, you're going to have Detroit at Kansas City September 7th for the season opener.
Yeah.
Man, give it up for Detroit.
Prime time, baby.
Bro, Detroit has come a long way.
Yeah.
That's a long way. Trust me, a guy used to play for Detroit, all right? And that's phenomenal that Dan Campbell and that team now has rebuilt the culture where the NFL believes that they should be a main event headlining marquee team in the NFL because they put them against the Kansas City Chiefs to open up the season September 7th, and that's at Kansas City. They do have a top 5 offense, though. This is a meeting of two top 5 offenses.
And that's the reward for accepting the challenge of Hard Knocks last year. So they had them on Hard Knocks last year, and they was like, okay, you guys were fun. You were entertaining. Let's put you up against the defending Super Bowl champs in prime time. There you go. Get that opportunity.
Ben Johnson, too, their offensive coordinator. He won't be there long. He got a lot of offers to leave. I think this will be probably the last year he's there, so they're going to light it up, too, because I think he's trying to get a head coaching job. So you got Detroit at Kansas City. I like that matchup. Then you got the September 11th, and this obviously with meaning and significance. The Bills at the Jets, Jets, the new-look Jets with Aaron Rodgers, and that, of course, played on 9/11, which is the anniversary of September 11th. So Monday Night Football debut there for September 11th between two New York teams.
I love it. The Buffalo Bills, obviously, we've talked about them year in and year out. Where's Josh Allen going to do? Is he going to take another big step? And then you also look at the fact of what the Jets are going to look like with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers now in prime time. Obviously, he's been that guy, the reigning MVP, and now he's going to be on the biggest stage with his new team, and everybody's going to be talking about Broadway Joe. Now it's going to be Broadway Aaron. So let's see what Aaron does in the spotlight.
They're going to have a ton of primetime games. We talked about it earlier in the show. I mean, the NFL has rolled the dice, and it's not really a roll the dice. It's been a calculated risk when they put a team with a brand new transition quarterback who's coming in, a veteran like a Tom Brady who came into the Bucs via free agency, or a quarterback who came in via trade like Matthew Stafford. You get a big-time franchise quarterback changing teams. They've rolled the dice and put those teams in a ton of primetime games, and it's paid off. Tom Brady, Matt Stafford, and I think with Russell Wilson, we talked about that, didn't pay off with Russell Wilson, but I think it will with Aaron Rodgers, and I think that's what they're banking on too. So expect to see a lot of Aaron Rodgers, and we want to.
Right.
I think the America wants to see more Aaron Rodgers.
And you want to also see Garrett Wilson, that offense with them, with Aaron Rodgers, what they can be, because Garrett Wilson, Rookie of the Year, and you got Sauce Gardner on the off defensive side.
Oh, yeah.
This is a team that was built for prime time because of so much star power that they have.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, they are in New York City.
Yeah, it is.
The Dallas Cowboys will be at the San Francisco 49ers. That is October 8th. There will be a Week 5 contest, and that is Sunday Night Football, gentlemen. So Cowboys get to play San Fran and get to try to avenge that playoff loss. Well, they've had back-to-back playoff losses to the 49ers.
And they're going back out there.
Listen, we don't even know.
They're going back out there.
This is actually significant for the 49ers. Shano did say they expect Brock Purdy back by training camp. That's big.
But do they expect him to be throwing during that time? He may be back, but is he going to be able to participate? And think about that. They got Sam Darnold, they got Brock Purdy, and they got Trey Lance. Who would you much rather play at the quarterback position?
No, that's the right. That is the $1 million question for them. Think about this, because to Harge's point about this, right? You got Mr. Irrelevant. So literally the guy that was drafted last in the draft, Brock Purdy, who had a hell of a season last year, but ended up getting hurt.
Yep.
I went back and looked at Trey Lance's just college career and so forth in the NFL? Guys, how many pass attempts you think he's thrown since becoming a quarterback at North Dakota State?
I would say 200 at the most.
More than that. How many you say, Patrick?
More than that?
Yeah.
More than that? We'd go with 300.
It's 420 total.
Oof.
It was 318 in college.
Because that one year didn't they play like 2 games, 3 games or something like that?
They didn't play a lot of games. So in 5 years playing quarterback in college and in pro, he's thrown 420 passes. Ryan Tannehill, who at A&M was drafted in the first round and was a wide receiver half the time at A&M, so was there for 4 years, wide receiver for 2. He had 774 pass attempts. So just in college. He just has not. I don't even know what to think of Trey Lance, because there's no sample size really
of
him. I don't even know how the hell they came to the conclusion of drafting that high and traded all that capital for him. Like, how do you come with such a
What'd you
small
say
sample
about
size? How do you come to that conclusion?
What'd you say about your buddy?
He's a bad picker, man. He likes bad quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's what you said. He's like
that friend you have that they always date D-bags and a-holes, and you're like, why are you dating that person? And Shano, he picks bad quarterbacks.
I love the
Sam
challenge.
Darnold.
You got
Sam
change for
Darnold
me.
there now.
Exactly.
And they're talking about Sam Darnold made plays. Like, no, we like him. He's like, of course you like him. You like bad quarterbacks.
But I get the Trey
can
Lance.
fix him.
I get the Trey Lance thing. It's like basketball coaches. It's like in college, love getting a 7-footer or 6'9" guy, 6'10" guy who's barely played basketball, because they're like, you don't know any of the bad mistakes. Like, you don't have bad tendencies. You are not shooting. We can teach you how to do everything from day one, and you'll do everything right. And at a high level, and you have all the other intangibles. You're fast enough. You can do all this. So all we have to do is teach you how to do it, and you'll be fine. So I get that concept of the less you've played, the more malleable you are, because you're not stuck in your ways. On the flip of that, that's still 5 years, even if it's not a lot of passes. That's a lot of practice. That you still get a lot of. You can still drain in all those bad tendencies. You could still have to train, and in the NFL at the quarterback, where so much of it is mental, it's a steep grade to be like, hey, be on the sideline, figure out how to read a defense. Oh, by the way, this guy's Micah Parsons. By the way, this is Joey Bosa. This is TJ Watt. These guys are going to try and kill you.
Right.
So while you're going, you do that. Here's some safeties that are just going to pick you off. No matter what you're doing, like, these guys are going to come get you.
Right, you want to play the best in the world at their profession, and you've thrown less than 500 passes as a quarterback at the high level. And so I'm not saying that
that's the shocking
it's
part.
Bad or good. I'm just saying, I don't even know how you come to any conclusion at all about Trey Lance. He is the mystery box from Family Guy. Like, he is the ultimate mystery box. We have no idea what Trey Lance is. And then you got Sam Darnold, and I think we know what Sam Darnold is, but Shano likes bad quarterbacks. Even with all of that, guys,
I can fix him.
Right? He believes it too. He does that. He does that voice too, just like that.
Yeah.
Third best Super Bowl odds. With all those questions, they lost their OC, DC, still got a third best Super Bowl odds. We don't know what the quarterback's gonna be.
That's the other part of that.
Yeah, and I mean,
he doesn't know who his quarterback is.
And if we sit on Brock Purdy will come back, we still are looking at Brock Purdy going like, well, 7 games he was really good his rookie season, and expecting him to be a like top tier, at least Pro Bowl caliber quarterback for an entire season coming off an injury.
Yeah.
If you're saying that, because you're not saying Trey Lance or Sam Darnold's going to be the guy, you're saying Brock Purdy will be the guy again.
I think so. I think that's what they're saying.
Yeah. And that's you're hoping that it wasn't just, hey, you know what, we've seen his ceiling already. You're saying we've seen his floor, and his floor was really, really good.
Yeah.
I believe that's what they believe. And I think, if that's the case, then watch out, because now San Francisco can reset. And that's what they're hoping. They're like, no, we actually going to reset with Brock Purdy, and then we can trade Trey Lance, get back some of that draft capital, and now we're sitting pretty for another few years. I don't know if it's going to go exactly like that, but they've been pretty lucky when it comes to quarterback. Remember the Jimmy G situation? He wasn't even practicing with the team.
Right, he was on the backfield.
Yeah, they were trying to trade him, couldn't trade him, and they needed him because they ended up all their quarterbacks got hurt, and they ended up with their third, fourth string quarterback in the playoffs. Crazy. Anyway, getting back to it, getting back to the games that have been announced by the NFL themselves. The international games also, gentlemen, have been leaked by the NFL. You got Falcons versus Jags October 1st. That's in London. All these are in London. Falcons versus Jags October 1st. Jags back-to-back weeks, gentlemen, in London, overseas.
Not going home.
Jags versus Bills October 8th, and Ravens versus Titans October 15th. That's for London. Germany will get Miami versus Kansas City November 5th, and Indy versus New England November 12th.
If I am Kansas City, I'm upset that I'm playing Miami overseas.
That's a good point.
Because you think about Arrowhead, you think about the noise that is there, that is cheering for your team, going against a team like Miami, who is going to have, hopefully Tua is going to be healthy. Hopefully he's going to be able to go out there and play. But you think about the track stars that they have. You think about Mike McDaniel being able to call plays with that team. And now it's not going to be as loud and as rowdy. And you're going across the pond to play a game against a team that is probably going to be a vital part of your positioning for playoff position.
Oh, you only got one number one seed now. Remember
Yeah.
that? So yeah, the only one top seed.
Yeah.
So that's a great point because Miami's defense, guys, Vic Fangio there now.
Yes.
You got
I'm a big fan of his.
Yep, you got Jalen Ramsey's there
Yep.
now. They upgraded that defense. The offense was fine, as long as Tua stayed healthy.
Right.
You were good on offense. Actually, they added some pieces offensively too. But yeah, that defense makes the necessary improvements and they become a top 10 defense.
Right.
Yeah, Miami's going to be something to be reckoned with.
For sure.
They're scary.
For sure. And throw in Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill would have been able to play back at home at Arrowhead.
Yeah, that's a nice
So,
storyline.
I mean, there's so many different storylines that when you go across there and you're taking these games international, the effect of the travel, number one. Number two, are you going to have to play when you get back? There's so many things. I know what he's trying to grow the game. We've already talked about it. It's the most watched drama every single week. Why do we have to continue to go overseas to play?
Well, because they're trying to solve one of the great sports mysteries as to why the most popular television product / sport in America can't become an international sport when every other sport in America pretty much is international. Whether you're talking about soccer, of course, the most popular sport in the world.
Yeah.
You're talking about basketball, baseball, when you're talking about rugby. Hell, you can name the sport and it has an international presence. Hockey. And yet, the most popular sport in America that dominates the television airways, which dominates television ratings, 88. I think the NFL said of the top 20 most watched programs, 100 watch programs of 2022 were NFL games. They cannot get a real footprint. And they really can't develop any type of fan base overseas. They've been trying it for decades. Remember NFL Europe back in the day, way before even I got to the league. They've been trying it forever. And for some reason, I can't really explain it either. I don't really have a theory on it. They cannot get the international community to embrace American football. They don't want it. They don't care about it. Every now and then they get a spectacle of it, but for the most part, they know they can't put a team over there because right now, and they may try it again, but right now, all the studies say that it's not really a wise investment for the NFL because they can't generate a community that's going to be faithful and loyal enough to the product like it is in America.
So here's where my thought process is on that, and that was great explanation. But the biggest thing for me, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they don't have any international players
That's true, too.
that are on these teams. If they would get that, I think they can grow it because you look at baseball, you got people from all countries playing baseball. You look at basketball, you've got NBA players from different countries that are playing.
Is this fair?
There's not a player that comes over that
So
gets
is it
a
chicken
chance.
or the egg? That's chicken or
But
the
that's
egg,
what I'm
though,
saying,
right? So
and
you
that's
thought, how do I
why
solve-
they're
yeah.
trying to go there now is to get young people involved, and then what you're
Or
trying
get a
to do.
developmental league over
They
there.
do.
Like
But
you
that's
get
what
NFL
they're
Europe.
trying to.
They
but
do
they're-
have some of those.
and they're trying to build up. And so if you go, all right, we're going to try to go to this area this year and play 2 games or 3 games here, and then we can get a couple kids, and then because like basketball, you can play basketball, you can get a hoop and start shooting yourself. 2 kids come over, all right, now you got 2 teams, and now you can play, and you can play on much smaller areas. Football just takes a lot of space. It takes a lot of stuff. But in America, soccer, we all play soccer growing up. Like, it's a thing that people play as kids, so we all know it. I don't think they have that for football over there. They're trying to get more enough interest over there to bring it. Because I agree with you, Arch. You have to have foreign players involved in it and have the international players.
Yeah.
And you won't get that until there's youth leagues, and then the youth leagues grow into bigger leagues, and then they're able to start coming to college here. And once
And then
they
schools over there have to embrace it because they have to play it in schools.
Yeah.
And it has
Right.
to be funded by usually the state because it's a really expensive sport to play. So I think that's a big – and insurance. People don't realize insurance is big.
Yep.
Insurance in America will cover football because they know the culture of it. Insurance over there international, like, we ain't what the hell? Have you seen the stats on football? We ain't covering football. Hell no. So that's
Right.
another thing, too. You got insurance that
cover
wants to cover
football.
Yeah, they'll cover football here
Yeah.
because it's kind of it's grandfathered in, if you will, into the culture.
Yeah.
But they won't cover – insurance won't cover football over there.
Yeah.
That's
No,
another thing,
and,
too.
Yeah.
and I think there will be too once you can get to one of the things internationally for a lot of these players early on in some sports was, well, you can come here and get a free college education and get all that. And so not necessarily in England where they're going to, but other areas that may not have the type of education system set up is where you can start pulling players in from other areas overseas and grow it and then surround where they're at. And that's where you're trying to get areas that don't have free education to come over here to play football in college. You just get super athletic people and try and steal them away from basketball or soccer or somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I know my former teammate with the Giants, O.C. Umenyiora, has a project in Africa
Yes,
where
he
they're,
does.
they're cultivating a lot of international players from Africa, and they've done a really good job with it too. I know they're trying to get San Francisco has tried for years to go get the Australian. The Australian football players, and because it's a very kind of similar skill set, it just really hasn't worked out. I think all those points are valid about them not having the international players and stuff that Patrick brought up too about you just don't grow up playing it because it's easier to play other sports.
Yep.
So you gravitate toward those sports that's easier to play. So anyway, the NFL's trying to solve that mystery.
And when we
They're
talk
not
about the salary cap going up every year, they're like, you know what we need to really grow the salary cap? International dollars.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because Premier League makes more money than us, and we don't like that.
Totally agree. That's a great point too. Trust me, those billionaires, they never seem to have enough. Those billionaires want more.
Ever.
That's why they're billionaires.
Yep. I agree 100% on that.
God bless them. All right, Black Friday game, you're going to have Miami this is good, at the Jets, November 24th, Jets, Jets. So Miami at the Jets, that should be high-powered if the Jets are as good as we think. That's your Black Friday game. You also get...
Why are we having a game on Black Friday when college football is supposed to be playing?
Well, because the NFL thinks of the sports calendar like a monopoly board, and they want to own all of the best properties, baby.
Yeah.
It ain't enough for them to just own their share of the properties.
You
They
gonna
want
have to pay the
yours
taxes
too.
when you get on it?
Yeah, that's why they got the draft. That's why they've made the draft a thing. They've made the schedule release is now a thing. The combine's a thing. The NFL has their months. They're September through February, but they'll come and steal some of March, steal some of April. Right now they're stealing some of May. That's what they do. And, they're going to steal Black Friday away from college football. They're like, I don't need it.
Right.
We like Debo.
I'm like, you are definitely
It's our day,
Deboing
punk.
people. That's
Yeah.
right. They taking it all
Hey,
from
man,
them.
they only share Sunday with the Lord. That's it. They're like, all right, God
That's why
can
they
have-
start at 12.
Yeah, it's like, all right, give God his or hers.
Yep. Yep.
All right, Christmas, speaking of, they also, on Christmas, they got Las Vegas at Kansas City, and they'll have the Giants at Philly. On December 25th. You'll also have New Year's Eve. Speaking of the sports calendar, like a monopoly board, they want more of it. Cincinnati at Kansas City, December 31st, right there on New Year's Eve. So they want all the holidays.
And they got the premier teams playing at that time too.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be watching.
Yeah, you're gonna definitely
They want
be
you to
watching.
build your holiday around the NFL.
Yeah.
or at least have it on in the background. That they want to make that tradition for all the holidays now, and most of them, because we know they all have their Thanksgiving slate. Most of them they got covered.
No doubt.
Cowboys, real quick. These are just the leaks for the Cowboys, and this comes from Blogging the Boys, so I'll give them credit. So, like I said, this could change. The schedule release actually becomes final when the schedule is unveiled later tonight. But they said it was announced that Arizona Cardinals season ticket holders may or may not have had the home schedule leaked to them, and the rumor is Dallas will visit them in Week 3. That's a rumor. Like I said, for
rumors.
W fans Brandon Tierney has reported the Cowboys will visit the Giants in Week 1, Sunday Night Football. That's what he's reporting. Cowboys will host the Washington Commanders on Thanksgiving Day, according to J.P. Finley. That's what he's reporting. There seems to be some scuttlebutt about the Cowboys hosting Aaron Rodgers and the Jets in Week 2. And it also, we talked about the Commanders game potentially for the Cowboys in Week 18. It's saying the Cowboys will visit the Commanders in Week 18, which happens to be basically, that was the same thing as last season as well, I believe.
Well, and the funny thing about it is, too, it always comes down to that game in that division. Like the last game for the Cowboys, there's always something to play for. There's no taking time off. There's no resting players. You're playing for a seeding somewhere every single time. And that to me is crazy when you think about it. I don't understand how it happens, but it always comes to that last game, whether it's them playing the Giants, them playing Washington, to see who is going to win that division.
And that division hasn't had consecutive winners since, the Eagles?
Yeah.
In 2000. It was like, man.
And everybody thinks the Eagles are the ones that are there to win it again
it was
this year.
Mid to late 2000s.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since they've had consecutive winners in the NFC East, I believe.
For
So,
sure.
That bodes well for the Cowboys.
Well,
all right.
at least you got a chance at it, right?
At least you got a chance. Eagles look like the favorite, but hey, man, anything can happen. All right, what you got coming up for the people on Harsh Knock Life?
I want to go back to this cheating scandal that we talked about a couple weeks or last week actually with the Alabama story of the coach being on the phone and some insider trading, so to speak. Well, there are some other stories that have happened throughout history, and I just want to get y'all's opinion on some of these stories where cheating has been involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some say if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yeah, but when it comes to money, that's where you start getting in trouble.
Yeah, straight cash, homie. We'll discuss that when we come back right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn.
Welcome back to a new theme Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie. It's your boy Hardball Harge. You can follow me on Twitter at Hardball Harge. You can follow my man Rob Babers at Rob Babers, and you can follow the man that's in charge of all the themes that we have here on Ball Don't Lie at It's Patrick Davis. We also love it when you're a part of the show. Hit us up on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. And yesterday we had the conversation about the Tooth Fairy. Right. So we had this conversation about how much money is too much money and how do you establish the money. And we had the poll up yesterday that was about how much $5 too much or $5 or less. Mm-hmm. Right. And 26% of the people said they pay $5 or more. So the majority is cheaper than $5.
Okay,
I
so
think that's good. That's a good rate.
So what you got, like 70, 60, 65?
74%
74%?
say
Okay.
74% say they get $5 or less, or the Tooth Fairy gets $5.
Y'all need
or
more
less.
options than two.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
I
you gotta push it.
think
more options than
we
two.
gotta go up against all these people. Like, do you actually got kids?
That's
Do
true.
you actually got kids?
You
No,
actually
you
got
don't.
kids.
Or when
That's
your
right.
kid's like my age, you're like, well, yeah, I didn't do it in 1989.
Right.
Yeah, inflation.
Yeah. And then I ran into a friend of mine at the hospital today. He was listening to the show, and he said, Tooth Fairy gave my kids $10 a tooth.
Ooh.
I was like, you a baller.
Hey,
You-
we saw $15.
Yeah, we did see
There
15.
was somebody
I thought we
said
saw 20.
We
Yeah.
saw
Yeah.
$20 per tooth, flat rate on the Specs text line.
They got to be excited about losing them teeth.
Hey man, that's a good life. You know what?
That is a good life.
God bless that Tooth Fairy.
Exactly.
And for anybody asking, 20 baby teeth, so 20 teeth can fall out. So $5 is $100 total. That's not crazy amount.
Yes.
But at
I'm like,
$20,
Ooh,
That's a crazy amount.
that's a crazy amount.
Yeah.
That's a day job.
Yeah. That is definitely a day
I want
job.
to say $20 a tooth.
Yeah.
That's, like I said, man. Hey, minimum wage.
Times are changing.
minimum wage ain't changed in how long?
Times are changing.
That's
So
that inflation. The
question was the other people were asking how many people were actually in the poll. 85 people voted on that poll. So just so
y'all should
you
have
know.
more. Y'all should have had. We should
More
have had.
options.
Yeah, because y'all just had $5
or more or less.
$5 or less, and then or more.
Yeah.
And we should have had like $5.
50 cent.
I'd have went below. I'd have went to 50 cent or $1. Maybe
Yeah.
$1. $1, $5.
Hey, does it jingle?
10.
Does it jingle?
Does it
That's the thing
jingle?
is-
See,
you
and
get
that
out
should've
change.
been
My
the other
kids
one.
are looking for
Jingle?
the ones that
Yeah.
are folding. My kids are looking for the ones that fold, not the ones that jingle.
Because it is about when you grew up and your upbringing. Because
Yeah.
I got change. I just got a quarter.
Right.
So I think it's about, we should ask like when you were growing up or when with your kids, what's the Tooth Fairy do?
Yeah, we like
Some
that.
run rates.
We
I
like that.
All right.
So here we go. I wanted to talk about this because we talked about it last week where the Alabama head coach was fired, baseball coach, not Nick Saban, guys, not Nick Saban. The Alabama baseball coach was fired. Brad Bohannon was fired from his job for allegedly giving some inside information to someone who made a large wager on a baseball game involving Alabama baseball. And it's been multiple times. So they removed bets for Alabama. And I talked to you about this before, Rod. Not a lot of people bet on college baseball. It's just too hard to handicap.
I agree.
And most of the time it's money line, and that's where you go because you don't know the differential. You don't know what the kids are doing. It's starting pitching, all kinds of different things that are involved in this game. Well, Monday, there was an announcement that was made that Iowa and Iowa State are looking into online gambling situation involving at least 41 combined members across multiple sports. A lot of craziness is going on in this. So the Athletic wrote an article going back into scandals that have happened throughout the years. And I thought it was interesting because you start looking at the sports, and obviously we've talked about baseball just here recently, but you know it's happened in football. You've heard it happening in basketball, hockey. There's so many different levels to it, but each one of them have been notable. So we'll start in 1945, the Brooklyn Five. The Brooklyn Five, what happened was 5 Brooklyn men's basketball players accepted $1,000 to intentionally lose a game against Akron.
Yeah.
You start looking at that, and it just all depends on who's on the other side of that wager, right? So I'll give you $1,000 if you make sure you lose, where I win $150,000. So there's always that type of story. But no player was arrested. The game wasn't played. The 2 gambling ringleaders were put in jail. The ones that went to him and said, hey, guys, I need you to lose this game, give you this money, boom, boom, boom. Well, those guys that were behind it got put in jail. Then you look at the from 1947 to 1951 men's basketball point shaving. 33 players across 7 schools were found to be involved in point shaving over 86 games.
Wow.
So you're in college, you're trying to make a little money, you're trying to figure it out. Well, nobody's going to be paying attention to that. Hey, Big Brother is always watching. There's somebody always watching.
How did that get uncovered?
Well, they went on. 7 players were on the 1949 to 1950 City College of New York. It seems like all this stuff happens in New York. City College of New York men's basketball team, which won the 1950 NCAA tournament and the NIT.
Okay.
The only double in the history of basketball. In 51, Manhattan College center Junius Kellogg was approached by a former Manhattan player and offered $1,000 to fix a game by losing by 5 or 6 points. He refused to do that, and he told his coach.
Okay.
And the coach went to the police. He later was, that was the beginning of the whistleblowing. And as a result, 32 players were arrested in the scandal that touched Long Island University, CC New York, Kentucky, New York University, Bradley, Manhattan, and Toledo.
Man.
Another player was at Columbia. He was connected to the scandal as well.
That's got to be the most widespread.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
There's no way much more widespread than that. That's
exactly.
crazy.
And then you go from 1956 to 1961, men's basketball point shaving scandal. The Molinas, who escaped the 1951 scandal, became the number 3 pick overall in the NBA draft. But he was suspended during his rookie season for gambling on basketball games.
Man.
I mean, sometimes it just be calling you. It just be calling you. So Florida football player John Macbeth was approached with the bribe and told his coach as well. So what's been happening, you've been getting some whistleblowing back in the day. So during that time, 37 players were arrested. During that time, including Columbia, UConn, NC State, St. John's, and more. The future NFL commissioner Paul Tagliabue unknowingly played in a fixed basketball game while at Georgetown, which reportedly inspired him. Right, which inspired him with his tough stance on gambling in the NFL when he became an executive. So there's another part of that when you go back into it. 1978 and 79, and a friend of mine told me about this one, but it's also a Boston College scandal. I think Bucky might have been in college at that time, if I'm not mistaken. He might have been a part of that. Yeah, Henry Hill. I think Bucky has talked about this.
I think he has talked about this.
Yeah, Henry Hill, a mobster, was arrested in 1980 on a drug trafficking charges. He revealed a point shaving scheme in exchange for his immunity.
Yeah, the Goodfellas guy, right?
That's exactly what it is.
Goodfellas,
and by the way, Henry Hill came and talked to me, well, not me, the group during spring training one time about the story.
That's so cool.
Yeah, he came up, and everybody's just sitting there looking at him like, bro, really? You did this? And now you're a snitch.
Did y'all go watch Goodfellas before or after?
I had watched it after.
Okay.
Because you couldn't piece it together, and then all of a sudden you see Goodfellas. I'm like, I talked to that guy. Well, I didn't get a chance to actually talk to him, but I got a chance to hear his story, and it was really interesting after that.
That is cool.
1985, Tulane, it's all basketball. Tulane's men's basketball. 3 students recruited 5 players to shave points in 2 games against Southern Miss and Memphis State. A week after the season, rumors were out there talking about the fixed spread. A local attorney investigated and told District Attorney Harry Connick, whose son, Harry Connick Jr., just jumped on the case, and then he ended up getting a bunch of these guys arrested. And by the way, guess who was the football coach at Tulane during that time? New football coach Mack Brown was installed as the athletic director.
Shout out.
Because the athletic director, Hendon Wall, resigned. because of the controversy. He grew fatigued because of the controversy.
It's a small world.
A very small
That is
world.
wild. That's crazy.
And then in 1994, we heard about that too, where Arizona State's men's basketball, again, basketball is involved in this, get you out of there. You start looking at these stories, and they didn't cover, to make sure that they didn't cover a spread in 4 games at the end of the 1993-1994 season. The guys' names were Steven Smith and Isaac Burton. Smith reportedly owed some money for his football gambling debts, and Smith received $20,000, $10,000 in cash, and $10,000 in debt swiped away. There you go. So that's why he decided, you know what? I owe this man $100,000. I'm gonna get this money off.
Get this money.
And then it ended up happening, and that's when the Nevada Gaming Board and the FBI were part of the suspicious wagers.
Man.
They ended up pleading guilty on conspiracy charges. They were sentenced. Smith was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in prison, while Burton got 2 months. So it's just unbelievable how this all happened. Northwestern had the same thing happen with them.
That is crazy.
Maryland football and basketball in 1995.
Okay.
A handful of players across both sports, included record-breaking quarterback Scott Milanovic, who was reported placed 6 bets totaling $200. None of the bets were on Maryland games, though. None of those were on the game. 5 players were suspended, including the quarterback, who received an 8-game suspension, was later reduced to 4. He considered entering the NFL supplemental draft, but he stayed at Maryland for his senior season.
Okay.
1996, Boston College football again. I mean, you would think
Boston
that they
College,
would
man.
understand that y'all already got a red flag.
They got a history, man.
They got a history of this. Upwards of 25 to 30 players betted on various sports through a student sports bookie who was on the golf team.
Student sports bookie. Is the first one of a student sports bookie?
I think so. I
Wow.
think this kid was on the campus being the bookie.
Oh, somebody should make a movie about that.
They
I bet that was
probably
a cool,
have, I
They
think.
probably already did it.
They probably have done that. And they said 2 players bet on Boston College to lose October game against Syracuse. Though neither player had a role in the loss, rumors of gambling spread amongst the team, leading to an investigation. 13 players were suspended. By the next season, 5 were reinstated, 4 graduated, and 3 had their scholarships revoked.
Wow.
And Dan Henning was the coach during that time. And then Tom O'Brien came over to take over the coaching staff at Boston College.
That's crazy.
And then the last one that I'm going to give you, because there are so many, in 2014, UTEP dismissed the 3 men's basketball players for gambling on athletic events, though there was no evidence of point shaving or betting on their own games. They got let go. 2017, 5 Richmond baseball players, Richmond Spiders, were suspended for sports betting. No evidence of point shaving or game fixing, and they were later reinstated.
Was that the first baseball one?
Yeah, that was the first baseball one that I had seen
Okay.
during this time. And now baseball is the main reason why everybody's getting investigated right now.
Well, how many of these gambling incidents did you think total? Just guesstimating.
Well,
Do you think they've had total in the history of the NCAA?
in the history of the NCAA,
So you're talking
I
about
think
2
there's
million to
more.
count kind of
I think there's way more than we even can even conceive.
I don't think
right
I
now.
realized they were that frequent
Yes.
in history. I remember some of the big ones being referenced. Obviously, most of those before my time. I
Right.
don't think I realized they were that frequent and honestly,
I think there's more than we can even understand. I think these are some of the bigger stories because of it,
Yeah.
and I think now because there's so much gambling that is being
What's
placed
gone
on
mainstream.
athletes, and you like we talked about
Yeah.
last week, you got casinos in stadiums.
it's too accessible and
You got
it's gone
sportsbook
mainstream.
in stadiums where you can walk in and place a bet during the game. You can do it on your phone.
Yep.
You can be at the game and placing
And
bets.
there's no longer a negative stigma on gambling like it once was. It's no longer in the shadows.
Right.
So that makes it
And it's like
tougher for the guys.
there's no negative
And
stigma
gals, by the
of
way.
Sean Payton taking a bong rip.
How many?
You know what I'm
how
saying?
many? No, that's a good point. How
You
many female sports?
None. I've not seen
Wow.
any of those.
Because it's just because.
I mean, it's probably hadn't been reported.
'cause
You
it-
know what I'm saying? That
wonder.
they haven't done that type of investigation.
Come on, ladies. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, y'all can do anything.
Don't
a man
mean
can
it
do.
ain't happened.
They can do anything. A
Don't
man
mean-
can do.
don't mean it
I know
hadn't
y'all
happened.
got to get that money.
For
No,
sure.
I tell you what. My prediction is with if women's basketball continues on this pace, and right now LSU in the transfer market with the LSU women's basketball team, man, they are cleaning up in the transfer market.
Oh, for sure.
They're gonna be a monster next year. But anyway, I
Again.
digress. If women's basketball continues to replicate those kind of numbers they did for last year's championship game, or at least the last season's championship game, people gonna start betting on it. Or at least,
for sure.
There'll be a scandal. Like you said, people are doing it right now.
People are doing
They
it.
just ain't being caught.
Right, and they
There'll
haven't
be
been talking about it
Exactly.
either.
There'll be enough of it done
Yeah.
and that somebody will get caught.
Yeah, and I would say a lot of these scandals that happened in the past, there wasn't probably lines on women's sports as much,
Yeah.
like pre-Title IX and all that
That's
stuff.
Oh, yeah,
true.
that's
There
a
probably
great
wasn't
point.
as many lines on when you're like, I gotta go to my bookie. Your bookie wasn't like, what you think's gonna happen?
Them UConn ladies, man, they go mash.
No doubt, no doubt. If
I
you
love
want-
that Patrick's bookie is kind of weird and crazy.
Yeah.
Like he's like his old crack or something. Like, what you gonna do, man?
Yeah, if you want to find out more, you can go to theathletic.com and look at the story by Chris Vanini. He did a great job of breaking all this down. There's so many stories that are out there, and there's probably more stories that we don't know about because it is true that they are all out there.
I like this texture. Y'all know, ladies too slick to get caught up like that.
There they go. There they go.
It do seem that's true.
Yeah.
That is true. Oh, man. All right, good stuff there for Hard Knock Life. We come back. This is a weird story, but also a sad story about one of the greatest athletes in the history of American sports. Right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Time for another Off the Record. This audio comes from a radio interview that was done at WJOX, I believe. They're in Birmingham, Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. And they had Bo Jackson on, the great Bo Jackson on. One of the greatest
I
athletes.
think that's my guy,
all
Lance
time.
Taylor. I think that was Lance with the next round.
You might be right about that.
Yeah.
You could be right about that. Well, Bo Jackson was on there. He revealed something that is troubling, also very strange, about a medical condition he's dealing with.
I've had the hiccups since last July, and I'm getting the medical procedure done the end of this week, I think, to try to remedy it. But I'm busy at the hospital sitting up with doctors poking me and shining lights down my throat and you probing me every way they can to find out why I got these hiccups. So that's the only reason that I wasn't there.
Have we figured it out?
Hell no. I have done everything. Scare me, drink water upside down, smell the ass of a porcupine. It doesn't work.
I've never heard of that.
Yes.
The remedy or having hiccups that long, either one.
Yes.
So.
I'm serious, man.
Okay, gentlemen. Hiccups for damn near a year. Like I said, at first you're like, oh, man, that's kind of wild. And then you realize that sounds like a nightmare.
It sounds awful.
It sounds awful.
And don't
It's
forget,
dreadful.
Bo has he has a stuttering problem too. Don't
So
forget,
speech impediment?
Yeah, he does have that where he has to take his time when he
gather
speaks
himself.
a little bit.
I didn't realize that.
And so put that on top of the hiccups too. My man is going through it.
Yeah, it is. That's wild. That's like I said, it sounds awful. I'm sure there's a medical terminology for it.
Didn't he say he's been to every doctor? He's been seen by everyone. They're trying to sign. I remember back in the day, everybody used to talk about scaring people.
You scare him?
Yeah, and scare the hiccups out of you.
My favorite hiccup kind of remedy, home remedy, is and I have to chug something that's carbonated. And then I can get a good burp, and then I can get rid of it.
Then it clears it up for
And
you.
it clears it up for me. So if it's a Coke or hell, sometimes a beer works, whatever. If I gotta chug it. I gotta chug it, and then if I chug it, boom, I'm good. But man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I can't even.
I've had it for a couple of days. I had it for like 3 days. It's like the longest I've had hiccups. I had it for 3 days, and that freaked me out.
Yeah, I don't like hiccups.
Yeah, I don't think I've had it for that. Yeah,
I had it for a long time.
I've not had them a lot. Knock
Had 'em a
on
long
wood.
time.
I don't
Yeah.
wanna-
Yeah.
But anyway, and it's strangely enough, I wasn't on air at the time. It was actually during the time I got let go, so it was perfect.
I mean, that had to be perfect for you because it would have been a rough show.
Yeah, it
bro.
was. It was like in between time, like before I came over here, and I had hiccups for like 3 days. I don't know if it was psychosomatic. I have no idea what was going on. But it was
Timing is
Let me
everything.
ask you this: if you had the option of you would have hiccups for a full year to have the natural born ability of Bo Jackson, would you just take the hiccups for a year? You just be like,
Yes,
yeah,
no doubt.
I could be one of the greatest athletes to ever live.
Yeah, because I'll get a contract for that year.
Yeah.
And then I'll get rid. Make sure I get some guaranteed money in there. Get rid of hiccups. And everything. I got my guaranteed money. I don't give a damn. Yeah, you're right about that. Because I just sent Harge a video of Bo Jackson admitting his fastest 40 time was a 4.13.
Yeah.
And there were NFL scouts there to witness the 4.13 that he ran. Yeah.
Man, I sent that straight to my son because we were talking about it. I was trying to make him understand how great of an athlete Bo Jackson truly, truly was, whether it was on the football field or the baseball field. And, of course, you just talked about it. He ran track, too.
Ran track.
And he can really pick them up and put them down.
It's God that size.
Yeah.
I still don't know. I mean, I know now we've seen some freaks, but even in this day and age, he would still be one of the top freaks among all the freaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He really would be. Like he would blow the combine. He would win the combine today.
Yeah,
which
but
is crazy.
Nick
to say.
Saban would have made it play linebacker.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. He probably would have transferred.
He probably would have transferred. He would have been in the portal because the money would have been there.
What?
The money would have been there. Even more than what it was then.
Because Bo knows.
Because Bo knows dollar bills, y'all.
Exactly. All right, we'll come back. We'll get into NBA review. The Warriors and the Knicks keep hope alive. We'll also preview game tonight. The Nuggets and the Suns, Celtics and the 76ers. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new theme Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's where my man Patrick plays jams that are supposed to lead my man Harge and I to the new theme of the day via clues that we gather from the songs and selections that are played. Harge got it with the first guest today. It is about the NFL schedule. The schedule will be released today, so it's NFL schedule day. My man Patrick was inspired to select songs that reference the date, a special date, a time, a year, a month, because it is a very special date today, which is the NFL schedule day. So that's basically the theme of New Theme Thursday. All right, we'll get to NBA review here. NFL discussion we'll get to in the top of the 6 o'clock. We'll get to NBA review of the games last night. Warriors and Knicks, keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. And the Knicks and Suns and Celtics and 76ers. We'll get to previewing that matchup. But we did just reference in off the record the Bo Jackson story, which was bizarre but also very troubling, that Bo Jackson has basically had the hiccups for a year. And we talked about how that was very strange, that we hadn't known anybody that's had hiccups for that long, and I had them for like 3 or 4 days, and I was freaking out. How about this? A texter here has said, my dad has had hiccups for over 4 years now, every day. He has been to tons of doctors and natural healers, and nothing has worked. Ugh. Would love to know if Bo gets it fixed. My prayers are with you, and I hope that you guys get that fixed too. I hope you guys find some kind of remedy, because that does sound like that is a really difficult thing to endure for 4 years. I guess you get used to it, but man, we just talked about how you don't want to get used to it. I guess you never get used to it.
You know what you don't get used to? People trying to scare you all the time to get rid of your hiccups for 4 years.
The home remedy. The home remedy.
Right.
I got the answer
just,
for you.
no, he's got the hiccups. I'm gonna jump around this corner with a knife. That'll get him.
Yeah, it's when they get more and more extreme.
Yeah.
Shoot guns around you and stuff.
Whoa.
That's not funny, but that's probably true, unfortunately. Because people care about you. Like, no, I got a remedy. This will work. I promise you, this will work. So
I gotta help you.
They've basically been kind of a pincushion or kind of a test experiment, probably for the first year, until people realize, no, this is really, really serious, man. And they went to see everybody, and apparently have not been able to figure it out. So, we hope our thoughts and prayers actually are with you, man, because we know that is really tough. Or woman, doesn't matter, but we consider you guys to be family, so thanks for sharing. Also,
somebody said eat peanut butter. It ends the hiccups pronto.
Okay.
So don't be allergic to it. Just want to make sure if you're going to try it, make sure you're all right.
Yeah, how about this? One texter here says, had hiccups for 1 week, 24/7 after his surgery 12 years ago. Couldn't sleep nor eat, was out of my mind, found out it was an irritation of my esophagus from acid reflux. That the intubation during the surgery set off. Oh, so started reflux medicine after the week, and hiccups stopped. Still take the medication today to prevent the hiccups and reflux from coming back. Hey, man, I'm glad you got that handled. Like I said, that's kind of scary. When I had it for like 3 or 4 days, I started to get a little worried, and then I want to say one night I kind of just went to sleep, passed out, and woke up and they were gone. But man, it sounds like that's really tough. Like, it sounds like that is a really hard thing to go through. So hope everybody who's got, like I said, what's the medical condition terminology for this? It's got to be a medical terminology for extended hiccups.
Ugh. Yeah, I did not know it was a thing until today.
Now people are we got most people on the Specs text line saying they dealt with it either because of some issue that they were able to identify, or like the other texter, they just couldn't identify what it was. So Jeff Mutz, eat peanut butter immediately.
Yeah, he said it too.
So there you go. Apparently peanut butter works.
Yeah.
Said due to asphyxiation and impending death. He said cures hiccups due to asphyxiation and impending death. All right, there you go.
Well, this one right here seems to be a physician. He said, I had a patient after his neck fusion surgery we did. He developed the hiccups for a while, and he ended up in the ER.
So I wondered that other texter, I wonder if there was something that may have started it.
That triggered it.
That for some reason, maybe it was some medical condition or some treatment or whatever. Anyway, anybody who's going through that, we hope you guys get it handled.
It is fun to know that if I ever get the hiccups again, I will now think they're never going away.
Never
thought that was a thing before.
That's a good
now
point.
I will always think that.
Yeah,
that is a really good point.
Update for softball. If anybody was keeping up, Texas softball played Texas Tech in their first matchup in the Big 12 tournament. They walk it off in the bottom of the 8th on a wild pitch with bases loaded.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Had 2 home runs, solo home runs in the bottom of the 6th. to tie the game back up, and then in the bottom of the 8th, win the game.
All right, good stuff there.
Good job, Texas.
All right, good stuff. Always love a dub. We'll always take it.
Always.
In any sport. So shout out to the ladies who took care of business. All right, we'll get to some, like I said, NFL news, notes, and nuggets next hour. NFL schedule leak and the NFL schedule reveal actually happening tonight. We'll also get to, coming up next in Raj Ram the Day, something Black Stradamus predicted 2 years ago. Maybe 20 months ago or something like that, nearly two years ago, that's come to fruition. And I wasn't out on some limb, in my opinion, to make this prediction, but I did say that it would happen, and I'm glad it's actually happened a little bit sooner than expected. So we'll go over that. Actually, and it does have to do with the Longhorns. And all sports, actually, not just one sport. So I'm not just talking football here, mostly football, but all sports. So we'll get into that coming up next in Raj Rant of the Day. All right, gentlemen, let's talk NBA first here. We do have to review, we talked about this earlier in the show in the 3 o'clock, the win by the Warriors to keep their playoff hopes alive and stave off elimination. 121-106. Steph showed up, 27 points, but he continues to struggle, guys, from the three-point line. He was only 3 of 11 from the three-point line. He did have 8 assists, so he's doing as much as he can to help lead this team, but he has struggled a bit from the three-point line. He's 17 of 53 in the series, 6 of 25 in the last 2 games from three-point range. He just hasn't really been on. And actually, this entire postseason, he actually is shooting his lowest three-point percentage in his history, in the history of his career, I should say, as a player in the postseason. So he's been struggling a little bit all postseason long, but I think it's because the supporting cast for Steph, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, who were combined 8 of 26 in Game 6, they have yet to really handle their end or pull their end, if you will. And I think because of that, he's had too much of a burden on them. Because they haven't been able to keep up their end of the bargain. And because he had too much of a burden, he's too much of a focus of their team, having to work way too hard for that 27 points. And I think we're starting to see it take its toll on Steph in the 6th game of the series, or at least heading into the 6th game of the series.
As pure of a shooter as Steph Curry is, you can tell that he's getting tired when he's going 3 of 11 from three-point land. That's the part of it where he's been running around, he's been coming off screens, he's been having to do too much, playing 39 minutes of a game, and he's been on the court way too long for him and the team to be successful. I mean, they got the dub last night, but I don't think it's sustainable. I think also you look at what Draymond Green did last night. That was something that we hadn't seen from Draymond. But you also had Andrew Wiggins show up last night, so that was a big part. But I think Patrick brought this up earlier, and I'll say it again. Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole, they've done nothing in this series, and it has been detrimental.
Klay had that one game.
Well, I'm just saying, but overall, Klay is not the same Klay that we're used to seeing, where he can just get absolutely scorching hot. He has been very inconsistent with his play. And one of the things that I've always liked about Klay Thompson is his defense has been pretty good. It hasn't even been good this series. I mean, you can go back and look at him and Jordan Poole, how they're not even given much of an effort on the defensive end. I know they won last night, but I don't think they can sustain this next game. I don't think this is it for them. This is a huge opportunity, but I don't see them coming back just because of the fact of what you talked about, Rod, about the burden that Steph is having to play with. I think even Steve Kerr is looking at it too, and that's why he's talking about the officiating. That's why he's trying to do something to help these guys, but the biggest story for them is they have to attack the rim. They're too much of a jump shooting team, and they're not getting into the paint. So those are some of the things that I look for them going next game as opposed to what we've seen so far.
Yeah, and I mean, it's curious because he's messed with the lineup some, and we've seen him. I mean, he's had 3 different starting lineups. One was apparently due to illness, so Looney's playing a little bit less now than he was, and you're trying to switch things out. I'm a little curious why Kuminga isn't getting a little bit more run. I'm curious why Moody hasn't gotten more run because he seems to be shooting lights out right now, and he's only taking 2 to 3 shots a game, and he's hitting every one of them. So I don't know if it's just he's so bad on the defensive end that they're like, it's an automatic 2 points every time on the other end. He's just missing assignments that bad. But if I have a bunch of guys like Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson who aren't playing a lot of good defense and not hitting shots, and Moody is shooting, 70% in the playoffs right now?
Yep.
I'd put him in a few more minutes and try and figure out, hey man, if this guy's just if we got our guy, if we got a Lonnie Walker game out of him where he hits 9-10 shots for us,
That's all we need.
That's a game for us right there.
Yep.
But I think I'm curious how much of this season, with the amount of injuries that the Warriors have had to battle through, hurt where their conditioning isn't quite where it needs to be because it wasn't rest. It wasn't like rest where you just got to rest players because you're doing rehab, but you're not really getting your cardio up to the full amount you need to get your cardio up to. And then having to spend those last 3 weeks fighting for position.
Yep.
Because you were trying to
been in the
stay out of the
playoff-
play-in, and
yeah.
you were trying to stay out of those games.
That's a great point.
So I think your playoffs started probably 2 to 3 weeks earlier. The problem with that theory is the Lakers did too.
Yeah.
They were playing teams.
So
too.
it's not like you're playing against the Nuggets, but it doesn't seem like they don't have the legs they normally have at this point of the season.
They're a team with older, aging superstars as well, just like you.
But yeah, it just seems they do not have the legs right now.
No, I agree with that, and I think you start looking at the supporting cast for Steph, and really that'll end up if they lose the series, and I think we all agree they will lose the series. We just don't know if it's going to be Game 6 or Game 7, but if they could make the ultimate comeback, we're talking about one of the greatest comebacks in the history of the NBA. And then, as you pointed out, Harge, Steph can basically do to LeBron what LeBron did to him in the finals when they were up 3-1. But, man, Jordan Poole's meltdown, his implosion in the playoffs has been well documented, but the Klay Thompson factor, which has been a non-factor, if you will, in this series, that to me definitely the most surprising. And I think they missed. That's what they're missing the most, is because Steph, they've made him very inefficient. And getting to your point about them not having really a presence at the rim or getting to the rim enough or getting in the paint, which even when they win, they still don't do enough because they kind of returned into a jump shooting team, which they're not really shooting great from three-point range.
Exactly.
This is not the Golden State Warriors that we're accustomed to. Man, AD, and we'll talk about AD, who left the game with a head injury because he got he was grazed in the head, if you ask Harge. Some people believe he was elbowed in the head by Kevon Looney. Either way, he had to be escorted off the floor, and he did leave the court in a wheelchair after being hit in the head. And he has not been diagnosed with a concussion. He did play 32 minutes. 23 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and the game was pretty much out of hand at that point when he left the game. But I will say this: so I'm not getting on AD, which I know Harge is about to in a second. So I'll give him the floor. I can feel him getting ready to throw that hatred out there. That hate. But when he's on the floor, when AD's on the floor, the Lakers have outscored their opponents by 9.6 points per 100 possessions. Without him, they're being outscored by 8.2 points per 100 possessions. So even something I know Harge will agree with in his critique of AD is that, man, he is right now he's the secret sauce for them.
Yes, he's the X
He's
factor.
the straw that stirs the drink. If he's on, they win. If he's off, they lose.
I mean, that's the biggest way that we can describe it is he is the X factor to the success of the Lakers, and that's why I believe it's so frustrating for people around him. Like, I'm looking at the video of him right now getting hit. I mean, come on, Ra. You played football, bro. You played football. You go out there, and I know you got protective helmet on there. There's no way, if you watch it and you slow it down and you see the way he got hit, my man played, like Patrick said, he stayed in the game, and then all of a sudden he needed to do Paul Pierce and get in a wheelchair to be wheeled out of there. Then all of a sudden, he is not in concussion protocol.
Hey.
He seems to be ready to go.
He's toughing it out.
Did he go home and have the lights on? Because that will let you know if he had a concussion. This dude, AD, is almost dead. That's what AD stand for. Almost dead Davis.
That's another nickname you got for him. You made up another. That's a new one.
There's
That's another one.
I don't get it. I don't understand how you can be at one part of your career where people were looking at you to be the next great player. And there's no doubt about it. We just talked about it. He is a great player. But why are you so dramatic, man? You are just doing the most. Street clothes.
The NBA is dramatic.
But right now, we need tough guys. I need you to be tough. I need you to go out there and finish the task at hand. Everybody's talking trash to y'all, talking about when you won the championship in the bubble, it wasn't a real one. Now you got the Warriors, defending champions, up against a wall. And because you were struggling last night, that's what I want to put that in there too. He wasn't playing his best basketball last night. Get a little graze across the head, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God. Oh my God. I can't see. I can't see. Then he's sitting on the bench and just, it's so dramatic. Come on, dog. You're doing too much.
What was the worst shot? That one or the one Ishbia took from Jokic?
That's what I'm saying, right? I mean, like,
that's the NBA, though.
I'm going with the owner. The owner's flop was a lot better. I think Jokic's shot from KD was even
that was
better.
a good one too. But that's the NBA. I think the NBA is a league of gamesmanship, right? Patrick, you watch the NBA. This is what it is.
Yeah.
It is. And I mean, I don't know what happened with Anthony Davis that he sold it that hard. I have to believe there was something that, I don't know if it was that hit or if he just got tired or he was dehydrated or whatever it was, where he was like, man, I'm just not feeling it right now. I don't know what it is. But I'd like to believe that he wasn't literally on the sideline like, can I cross my eyes? Will that get us a call? All right, guys, if I faint if I'm walking in the locker room and I faint, we think we'll get some calls next game?
Yeah.
I don't want to believe that he was doing that bad. Watching the replay, it doesn't seem as bad as it looked. I mean, you have to figure the elbow maybe caught him in the back, like under his ear or something. That's all I can figure.
I sent y'all the video. I need you to look at it a lot. See, there's another nickname. AD stands for always dramatic.
He's got more nicknames than everybody else.
There has to be something that it probably did hurt, because when you play a basketball game, it just does when you catch arms and elbows. It does hurt in the moment. The wheelchair out, I don't know.
Whose idea was that? That's what we got to figure out.
I don't know. Was he just like, oh, man, let's get that wheelchair. That'll be funny. But it's
like, whose idea was it, you think? Because Paul Pierce has infamously become known for that wheelchair. And I think everybody kind of knows, like, oh, yeah, he was being way overly dramatic if he had the bubble guts or if he didn't or whatever.
Yeah.
We still don't know. He's got two different stories. Who would idea would that be to grab the wheelchair if it's concussed? Because his legs are wobbly? Was that why?
because he was dizzy.
Okay, so that's why he can fall over. Okay.
Yeah, that would be
that's
my
how
guess.
You justify.
Maybe it was a deal where they went back to him and they go, hey, you need to do post-game interviews. And he was like, man, I don't feel good. And they're like, hey, man, the only way you're not doing post-game interviews is they wheel you out of here. And he goes, give me the wheelchair.
That's a great, honestly, that is a very, very plausible theory. I like that theory there, man. That's pretty good. Because that makes sense. Like, no, I don't want to do interviews. So I don't want to talk about none of this, and we getting our butts kicked.
Yeah, and they're going to come in and go, well, did you think this was intentional? And then it's like, man, I don't want to do any of that because there's no answer I can give that works well.
That's true.
I like that theory, man. That actually that tracks with the NBA.
Yeah,
honestly, it really does. Now that we know that the Paul Pierce stuff was all BS too, it does track.
Yeah. You know, it's $25,000 for me to not do an interview. Give me a wheelchair.
Give me a wheelchair. Exactly. Give me the wheelchair, man.
And then and he was seen at a nightclub in VIP right after that.
But it was dark.
Yeah, but it was dark.
He was in the dark room.
Yeah.
He was in the black room.
On.
Yeah, he had headphones. He had his noise canceling headphones on with his shades in the club. So it was all good, y'all.
It was all good.
All right, I love that. All right, so something else we'll get into real quick before we get to the break here, because I want to get into Rod's rant of the day. We talked about the Knicks keeping their hopes alive as well, and we got to give props to Jalen Brunson, man. And I know it's tough for Mavs fans to watch, but Jalen Brunson played like a man possessed in Game 5. They actually played him all 48 minutes.
Yep, love it.
Which is rare. He played all 48 minutes. And I know why, because in the first 4 games, the Knicks had been outscored by 21 points in the 30 minutes total that Brunson was not on the floor through the first 4 games of the series. And I guess they figured the way to tweak that was just to leave him on the floor. They won 112-103. He had 38 points in 48 minutes.
Yeah, he said he's not going to come off the floor. I know that he's been sitting there looking at it and saying, if we're going to lose, this is how we're going to lose, but I'm going to be on the floor with my team if we're going to lose.
That's that dog, guys.
You got to have it.
That's
you
that
got to
dog.
have it.
That's that Jimmy Butler show. That's that dog in him.
You got to be that dude. And for him to go out there and play the way that he did and continue to push the envelope and saying, all right, because let's be honest, Julius Randle, very inconsistent, but he had 24 last night. RJ Barrett, he finally is starting to play a very consistent basketball game. But if Jalen Brunson is not on the floor, this team can't run. Because who's your point guard? Who's going to be the one bringing the ball up the court? Who is going to be – you gave the numbers last year about the ball dominance in which he had when he was with the Mavericks.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Now it's the same thing, and he feels like I need to make sure that I get to this point. So Josh Hart was not a factor, who has been a very big part of the success that he had, but he had a bunch of fouls early, and they had to take him out of the game. So Jalen Brunson's like, let me go ahead and do me, man. I'm going to be able to do me, and if we lose, we lose. But it's not going to be because I didn't give everything that I
Let
had.
Jalen cook, man. Let him
cook.
Tibbs, man, I don't know how you don't have your team prepared for the end of that game, but it looked like a JV team playing a college team in the last minute and a half of that game. And the Knicks still won, but I mean, they're just dribbling the court like, oh my God, they're coming after us. Like, man, how are you not prepared for this?
Situational basketball.
Like, how do you not? You can't get the ball past half court.
Yeah.
Y'all are in the NBA playoffs and y'all are having trouble getting the ball past half court.
Yeah.
It's not like the Heat have the all defensive team. Like, they're not all lockdown defenders.
Right.
They're just playing hard. You just go get the ball up, and they look so just out of their minds that they couldn't get up, had to call timeout, had to get a turnover. I mean, they get a couple times a ball pops out on a jump ball and they can't get it. I don't know how you look that bad in the last 2 minutes of it with a coach like Thibodeau who's known to be hard.
Yes.
You'd think they'd run through this a bunch of times and be really like the defensive side. He'd care about pressure, so they'd be going at him. Spoelstra has his team ready to play in the last 2 minutes, and the Knicks
Every
don't.
time.
And that's why you worry about the Knicks in the playoffs, is because the last 2 minutes is where you win and lose games, and they almost lost a game they had no business losing.
So you're talking about clutch time,
Yep.
and you have arguably the best coach team in the NBA, along with the Warriors and Steve Kerr, against a team and like the Knicks, who are inexperienced but also look discombobulated in clutch time.
A lot of times.
It's just like nervous.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
They don't look nervous.
I mean, they had 19 turnovers. They actually they won that game 112-103, but had 19 turnovers. To your point, I bet a lot of those came late in clutch situations. Well, I don't know how many there were because the game wasn't tight, but in late game closing situations, I should say.
Right.
So the Knicks, they found a way to win, but I love what Patrick brought up. That's why they're not going to win the series.
Correct.
They
just can't do it.
They're their own worst enemy.
Yes.
In the playoffs, you can't have that. You have enough of a tough time trying to beat the opponent. You don't have to beat two opponents, yourself and have to overcome.
Updates for tonight game. DeAndre Ayton is listed as out, dealing with rib contusion.
Oh, yeah.
So Nick Jokic is going to put up 90 tonight.
And no CP3.
And
no
no
CP3.
CP3.
Jamal Murray, though, is questionable, dealing with a non-COVID illness.
Weird.
So that is a questionable one. If he doesn't play, then it opens the door a little bit back up for Phoenix. But with no DeAndre Ayton inside, that Jokic is going to have a fun game.
Did the White House declare COVID to be over?
Yes.
I'm serious.
Yes.
I'm not joking.
No, yes.
Yeah, right? I
Yeah, it did
I
happen.
thought it was like declaration.
Yeah, there was an
I
announcement.
think
that we
that's
are
just,
down with COVID
they're
officially.
still stating it that way. Of
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I think it was today. I think it was like today or yesterday,
was.
like this
Okay.
week sometime.
I think it was yesterday.
COVID's done.
It's officially done, man.
Oh.
Woo! Damn.
I'm still wearing my mask.
That lasts a long. Oh yeah. This is the best thing about COVID is that you now have mask privileges depending on where you want to go in other places in society.
And by the way, I'm joking. I don't wear a mask. I'm just
You
saying.
do have,
But I do wash. But I do wash down all the time.
This is where you can wear a mask. You can wear a mask now when you go when you hang around people you know are sick. And you know they're like sick people.
Yeah.
Now you can just wear your mask, and people don't look at you that crazy. Like, hey man, no.
I'm like, all right, he's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, but COVID's over. So the NBA is still got guys out, but that's a non-COVID reason. But I know why they have to list the non-COVID.
Because it's still part of their protocol.
Yeah, that's
right
probably
now.
still part of the NBA protocol.
Say the
It may
non-
change
Yeah.
this offseason, but you have to
It's
list
part
them
of their
as
protocol.
COVID or non-pro. Well, also, I imagine that they're like, well, if someone gets COVID in the NBA, we'd prefer not to have them infect an entire team during the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
Because even if not, like half of no show symptoms, you're like, well, respiratory wise, they're just gonna run on you.
No, I agree. NBA's. It seemed like right now we haven't had many, if any, cases in the postseason of guys missing time because of a COVID-related illness or anything like that. So anyway, we'll get to some more NBA talk at the end of the show. We'll make predictions on the games tonight. We come back, we'll get into a prediction that I made probably about 2 years ago. Actually, right around COVID, about 2 years ago, about the Longhorn athletic department in this new era where the free market has come to college sports. We'll talk about that and also get you updated on how all of the athletic department is doing in this particular area. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie. Wonderful down the horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Everybody knows that time is money, and so do our friends over at Apple Leasing. And they're going to save you both. They're going to save you time and also save you money. The best thing about Apple Leasing is they understand what a frustrating process car buying can be. They know that it's a really time-consuming process, and they also understand that it's one of the biggest purchases that you'll ever make in your life. They understand all these things, so they want to make it easy for you. They also want to make sure they're getting you the best bang for your buck. They're going to do all the shopping for you. All you got to do is tell Apple Leasing exactly what you want. You tell them the make you want, the model you want, tell them the price you want to pay, the payment you want to pay, and then they'll go do all the hard work. That's the beautiful thing about Apple Leasing. That's why they've been doing business here in Austin for almost 40 years, because they're doing it the right way by putting their customers first. So all you got to do is reach out to them, give them a call, 512-346-9977. All it takes is one phone call or a click on Apple Leasing's website, and you'll get a quote on any make or model vehicle that you want. They can even give you an estimate on the value of your trade-in right over the phone. My man Mike Harsh knows all about that.
That's right. Anytime you want to go over there, go to appleleasing.com. You can make it so easy. You don't even have to make a down payment. You can have zero payments for 90 days with their easy lease. That's exactly what we've done, and I've done it 3 times to be exact, and I haven't been happier. Any make, any model, every time you ask them what you want and you tell them what you want, they go and find it for you. If you want a lease, they got it taken care of. And what I mean by that is sometimes you're always worried. If you're driving a lot, you're a salesperson like myself, you're always in your car and you're really worried about that lease. Don't worry about it. They cater it to what your needs are. All you have to do is go to appleleasing.com or give them a call, 512-346-9977, and they will walk you through the process. If you're on the road and you're busy during the day, don't worry about it. They can email you all the documents with the DocuSign. That's what I did, and I couldn't be happier. Do yourself a favor. Go over there right now, appleleasing.com, or just make that call, 512-346-9977. That's appleleasing.com.
All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Time for Rod's rant of the day. Well, I was reading an article. It was in Austin Business Journal, so I'll give them a lot of credit. It's a great article. Go check it out for yourself. It was actually about Texas and NIL. It's real good stuff. And they had some numbers in there that really prove one of my or at least it proves me correct in one of my predictions. I made a bold prognostication and a declaration, if you will, about 20 months ago or something like that, 2 years ago, when NIL became the law of the land. Because I talked to enough BMDs, shout out to the big money boosters and donors, BMDs, here at Texas, who said that they want Texas to become the NIL capital of college sports. Like, that was their goal, to try to make Texas the NIL capital of college sports. And that's all the sports. And essentially that economic windfall. And this was kind of my prediction, that basically anytime you have a certain activity, a service, or a business that was once prohibited, and then they decide to legalize it, like legalize marijuana or legalize gambling, almost every time there's an economic windfall that follows the legalization of it. I mean, just a ton. We're talking about a tsunami of straight cash, homie. And NIL was no different. And with that that financial tsunami that's forming here in Austin, if played right, because of the brand of Texas and because of the city of Austin and all of the the different companies that love Austin, Fortune 500 companies, the tech boom and the entertainment boom here, it's become kind of a pop culture mecca too. There is a perfect storm of circumstances and factors that could lead to Texas being what New Jersey has become in legalized sports betting, and what California and Colorado have become in the legalized recreational marijuana industry, where basically they are the leading pioneers in that new kind of economic landscape, because it is now the legal law of the land. Not everywhere for legalized sports betting and marijuana, but just like NIL, state to state, it's becoming the law of the land. And I said Austin is creating the perfect conditions for Texas to just be the top school, top program in the country when it comes to NIL revenue. I was reading this piece in Austin Business Journal, a report that Texas student athletes made at least, and they can get all the records because there's family educational rights and privacy acts and stuff like that. So they can't get everything. They got a lot because there's obviously open records at Texas, so they got a lot of it, but not everything. So as of the end of March, they said student athletes had made $10.3 million at Texas, and I believe this is since the start of the NIL boom. And I believe we're less than 2 years into this NIL boom that we're dealing with. And they're reporting.
Just at Texas?
Just at Texas.
Wow.
This is just Texas.
Wow.
They're just doing Texas here, and their reporting said based on their records, the UT student athletes had made at least $10.3 million or more on 2,000 or so NIL deals as of March 31st, according to records obtained by the Austin Business Journal through open records requests. And so, and like I said, it became the law of the land July 2021. So I believe we're just, we're a little under 2 years of this thing. I think they're looking at the totality of it. All right. So since the start of NIL, and so they say $10.3 million on 2,000 plus deals. Football consists of a little over 60% of those deals. That's $6.2 million in NIL revenue generated from just football alone. All right, y'all want to guess the rest of the sports and how they rank in NIL revenue? Who's second, gentlemen? That's pretty easy. Y'all should know this.
We going basketball?
Yeah, men's basketball. Who's third?
It's not baseball.
No.
I was about to say, it is not baseball.
It is not baseball. What sport do you think has, and by the way, men's basketball, 21.3% of the NIL revenue since it became law of the land, $2.2 million in NIL deals generated from basketball.
I would say, well, I don't think it would be swimming and diving, even though it's one of the better sports on this university. Would it be volleyball?
Volleyball is actually down on this list. Actually, they're 8th.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, I take it back. They're 7th at 2%.
Wow.
$206,927. They have, you said swimming and diving. Swimming and diving for women is fourth,
Oh,
2.8%. Men's swimming and diving is sixth.
Interesting.
Sandwiched in between women's basketball. So women's basketball is fifth, softball third.
Wow.
Softball racking up 2.97%,
That's why I was shocked.
$306,000. Yeah. And men's golf is right after women's volleyball at 1.98%.
We can't say women's softball did play for the national championship last year.
That is fair.
Ding, ding, ding.
So they
That is fair.
did make a really good run last year, which will probably raise those numbers a little bit. And they're good again this year.
And men's track is ninth, 1.92%. This is a problem, Harge. Baseball is 10th.
Yeah.
Less than 1% of all NIL revenue generated on the 40 acres is for baseball. That's a blue blood. Texas baseball is a blue blood program, and they're 10th in NIL revenue generated.
Yeah, that's not good.
We got
So maybe your boys
rectify this.
Maybe your boys still would have signed.
Yeah, they might not have gotten ours. Ain't no way they would have gotten ours with that. I tell you that right. I know Harge valets in the way he goes. Ain't no damn way Harge is going to sign with
Harge valets, he needs a car to valet. He ain't doing that on 0.1%.
No, I wouldn't have been part of that crew.
Okay, this is a problem. We all agree. This is a problem.
I would have to agree with that.
Okay, they need to be easily top six, five or six.
TexasOneFund.org. You can delegate it strictly to baseball, by the way.
You can.
You can.
Yeah.
You can make your donation strictly to baseball if you want to.
BMDs.
Come on, man. Take care of these baseball players.
Baseball players use some help. Also, this was reported by Endorse because they are a company that keeps up with NIL numbers across the country. Open Doors, Open Doors, I believe it is. They're the ones who they keep up with a lot of these numbers nationally since the NIL has become the law of the land. And they claim, like I said, these are Open Doors' numbers, not mine, but they do essentially make my Blackstradamus prediction correct. The CEO of Open Doors, Blake Lawrence, a Nebraska-based company that created an online platform to pay college athletes for a promotion, he says, quote, "We track hundreds of millions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of transactions through our technology and platform. Analyzing the first 20 months of NIL, Texas Athletics is number one in the country in our data set when it comes to NIL compensation for student athletes. Texas has done a tremendous job of preparing for the NIL era, and from day one have been able to help their athletes make the most of their opportunity." I said it 20 months ago that Texas would become the capital of sport, the NIL capital of major college sports. They are already that in less than 2 years. So shout out to all the big money boosters and donors, BMDs out there, because you're the reason, whether you're talking about the Clarkville Collective or you're talking about, Horns with Heart and the Pancake Factory, all of it, it's fantastic. And, of course, the Texas One Fund now. They've done their part, but obviously there's a lot more work to be done. And just throwing this out there, I love that Sark put it out there and let it be known publicly that Arch Manning didn't come here for the NIL dollars. I've said the toughest thing for a coach to do is to create a positive, constructive culture in the NIL transfer portal era, and yet the biggest celebrity endorsement, arguably, in the history of college football, and the latest member of the first family of football, Arch Manning, his family says he won't get an NIL deal until he's the starting quarterback at Texas, and he did not take any NIL money to come to Texas. That, I'll give Sark a ton of credit, because I thought he would be an NIL linchpin. Turns out they don't even want to be associated with NIL. Right. That is a great part of building a positive culture. There are two types of players that come to Texas, right? The ones who come to play at Texas and the ones who come to play for Texas. It's tougher and tougher to get the latter in the NIL transfer portal era. All right, and the guys who come to play for Texas, like that old JFK quote, don't ask what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. What can you do for Texas? Instead of asking, what can Texas do for you? There are a lot of guys in the transfer portal NIL era that want to know what Texas can do for them. And I think Sark has still got enough guys on that team that are here for Texas, and they're asking, what can I do for Texas? So I love what's happening at Texas. I said they would be the NIL capital of major college sports. That's exactly what's happening, and that means they got directives, which are sugar daddies, and they got collectors, which are a group of sugar daddies, and that's what the NIL era is about. You got to have sugar daddies, man. If you ain't got sugar daddies, then you're gonna be SOL. And Texas probably got more sugar daddies than any other major football program, and sugar daddies can make it rain.
Yeah, they can.
So that shout out to all the sugar daddies out there. All right, in the NIL era, sugar daddies.
It's loving. Make
It
sure
is.
you get be a part of it. I love this right here. Can we also tell small donors they make a difference too, not just the BMDs, power of the people. I'll give $50 a month and see if more people can do so as well. And like we said, you can direct it to wherever you want it to be.
Baseball needs it.
Baseball definitely
all the
needs you.
sports need it, but man, I did not expect to see baseball
needs you.
that low on the list. So that I know a lot of people don't like the way the NIL is progressing. I get that it needs more guardrails and regulations. Don't think I'm unaware of that, but that will come whenever Uncle Sam gets around to it. Right now, it's a state-to-state thing. And as long as it's a state-to-state thing, it's going to pretty much continue to be the Wild Wild West. Listen, every great cause begins as, kind of a movement, and it becomes a business and ends up degenerating into a racket. And I think we're probably close to the racket phase of NIL right now.
Right.
So it'll get some regulations, and there will be some guardrails on it. It just will take a few years. But right now, man, the NCAA, they don't really care.
No.
NCAA is a dinosaur, and NIL actually is the asteroid that's going to kill it. So we should all be happy about that.
Way.
It's on the way. All right, we'll come right back. We'll get into it off the record right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104 on the Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my friends over at Ironworkers Local 482. They've been helping shape this great city since 1935, and the reason it's such an aesthetically pleasing city to drive around in is because of all their hard work. You see the labors of their love all over this great city in exquisite landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And as our city continues to grow and thrive, so do our friends over at Ironworkers Local 482. They don't go to the office, they build it. So if you're looking for an exciting new career, maybe you're frustrated with your work choices and your path right now, and you want something new, something challenging, something fresh, how about becoming a member of Ironworkers Local Union 482? You can accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape Austin's economic development. Right now, they're hiring over 3,000 people for a huge project right here in Central Texas. So you can become a member of Ironworkers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of this great city. So you can maximize your potential and be your best self today and become a valued member of Ironworkers Local 482 by applying at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. All right, welcome back. Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. New theme Thursday. That's when Patrick plays jams that are supposed to drop clues and hints, little breadcrumbs to Harge and I that lead us to what the new theme of the day is. And Harge got it right off the bat. The new theme inspired by NFL schedule day today. So all the songs reference a special date, time, reference some type of a year, a day, month, whatever. It's all about special days and special basically special times, special whatever, right?
Yeah, their date. Like this song
Dates.
is Friday night, August 14th.
That's what I say, yeah. So it's usually a date or a time or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, my man Patrick doing a great job with that. We appreciate it. All right, we don't have a ton of time for our off the record, so it's just a quick conversation here, gentlemen, because I saw this and apparently this is becoming a thing. Let me know if y'all have experienced this already. So I got it from the Business Insider, but also read an article at the Wall Street Journal about this. So apparently the Wall Street Journal is reporting that self-checkout machines at cafes, sports stadiums, and airports are now asking for tips, and customers are not happy about it. Apparently, they're on the rise of this digital self-checkout kiosk and how customers have responded to tip prompts. They have several articles about this. Many customers who were asked to tip workers with whom they had no interaction were frustrated with these prompts, per the Wall Street Journal. All right, so what are your thoughts about self-checkout kiosks and adding a tip to a self-checkout kiosk of some sort?
Well, they do have a button there that says no thanks.
Yes,
You
can
don't
just
have to
decide.
click it.
You just
I
decide
mean,
you
just
don't wanna
say
do
no.
it. They don't even want to be prompted. They said, I don't
Right.
even want to be.
Yeah, no,
I don't want it to be prompted at all.
I get it's an issue when a corporation goes, "Hey man, can we get a tip?" And you're like, "Wait, who's a tip for?" And they're like, "CEOs." You're like, well,
Yeah.
that's not. No one wants to tip y'all.
Yeah.
Not one single person wants to tip y'all. If you say tips and then you give us little explanations like, "Hey man, this is for the janitor," some people be like, "Oh, it is clean in here." But if your tip is for nobody except for the company, that's not a tip anymore.
No,
that's just stealing money.
No, that's a fee.
Yeah.
You've added a fee. That's not a fee.
You're
It's a fee.
not a fee, but it's hey, if you like our business, just give us more money, please.
Pretty much. They call it tipping fatigue.
Yeah.
Apparently, Americans are experiencing tipping
Hey, you
fatigue.
know what I'm not a fan of? Asking me for money for donations at every single place I go.
You
I'm
do
not a
get
fan of that either.
You do get that a lot, too.
Hey, you want to give $1 to this charity that we
Hey,
tell you is
wanna,
real?
You want to round up? You want to round up
Hey,
your ticket?
yeah.
Like what?
Hey, you want to round up? Well, am I paying in cash? No. Then no. I don't know. For me, the rounding up doesn't matter when the bank does the math.
Yes. I like that. I like that. That's a
great point.
It is a good
That
point.
is a great point. And I'm a round up guy, but now I'm not going to do it anymore.
I'm a round up guy when I pay
I'm not
cash.
gonna round. I'm not even
Cash,
gonna
I'm
round
okay
up.
with it. 'Cause I'm like, I don't need to change.
Some places won't even take cash anymore.
I
They'll
know.
reject your cash. Be like, no, we're cashless.
I know.
Cash is king.
Yeah, that's like a COVID thing, I guess.
Yeah, it's a
Post-COVID
way
thing.
you put down poor people.
I like
It
cash
is.
still too.
No, but that's the thing is because poor people have a harder time getting bank accounts. The bank accounts that people with bad credit and stuff
know,
can
so you
get
want cash.
have more and more fees. It's a way. It's so people trying to get their like cutaway cash is like, well, the clientele that uses cash is not the clientele I want.
Which is ridiculous because if you're paying for something like a major item, like a house or a car, they
Yeah.
want cash.
yeah, exactly. But that clientele ain't walking in
Exactly.
anyway.
So they want to differentiate and discriminate between your cash.
That's
We're
the
like,
way-
yo,
that's
poor
the way
people-
they- yeah,
yo, poor people
discriminate.
cash.
Yeah.
But then there's rich people cash. We want the rich people cash. Poor people cash. Now it's y'all's cash. Y'all cash stink.
I like
I do
that.
understand.
Your
I do
cash
understand.
stank.
Your cash stink.
I do understand. We're getting to summer here in Austin. I do understand the signs that say we do not accept moist cash. I get those signs.
Whoa, no, come on, man. When most of the strip clubs got moist cash. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? That's how you know it's popping up in there. Shoot, man. Right? Like,
by the
tripping?
next
Has it
morning-
been that long? Have we been to a
Yeah,
strip
God, they
club?
gotta dry that cash out overnight.
They got a fan to dry out all the cash in the strip club. They do it with a hair dryer in the back.
Oh,
Come
my
on,
goodness.
man.
Oh my God.
All right, I guess we're going to break there.
Oh,
We'll come
my
back.
goodness.
NFL schedule leaks on the other side. Right here on Ball Don't Lie. What a word out of horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. New theme Thursday. That's when my man Patrick plays songs, certain selections that are supposed to leave breadcrumbs and hints and clues for Harge and I to figure out the new theme of the day. Harge got it pretty easy this time. First guess, actually. It is inspired by Schedule Day right here in the
Schedule
NFL.
Day.
A very special day, a very special date, and because of that, he is inspired to play songs that are all about a special day, a date, a time, a month, a year, all those special dates. And so we're celebrating because NFL Schedule Day is today, and it's leaked officially. There's always been some leakage. Some leakage has happened. I don't think that's the right term for the NFL schedule leaks.
I would almost guarantee.
Isn't that another?
That is not.
That's
supposed
definitely
to
a
be.
term for something else that is probably not PC.
No.
Leakage.
No.
I don't know why I keep
Go see your
saying it.
doctor if
You
you have
get-
NFL
Yeah.
schedule leakage.
That
Yeah.
is definitely on one of those commercials where it says
The
like,
side effects may be.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate those commercials.
I
I
tell
have
you-
to say that.
I will tell you that Jerry Jones is probably on 6 or 7 medications that may lead to NFL schedule leakage.
Leakage. That's a good one. I like
well
that.
done.
I like that.
Oh man, you ever watch those commercials? Like, 'cause we were talking about obviously prescription medication commercials. Hard, you know all about this. You're in
I
the
do.
medical industry, and it could be about an antidepressant or an IBS treatment or so. I mean, just obviously anything that people have to deal with, medical issues they have to deal with.
Yep.
Could be about, I don't know, it could be about like dermatitis, all kind of crazy stuff. And they'll have a commercial about a certain prescription pill, medicine that can help someone out, birth control, all these kinds of stuff. And if you watch the commercial, and what me and my wife like to do is turn off the sound. Because usually commercial, the visuals they're giving you have nothing to do with the actual product that is being sold to you or the prescription medicine that is being promoted.
Okay.
So we'll turn off the sound because I don't want to hear what they're talking about and see if we can guess at least what medical condition or at least what the prescription is about based on the visuals. And we're never right.
No, well, I mean,
Right?
what drug?
We're never right.
What drug involves bathtub on a hill?
Exactly. Yeah.
Why is there a
Right.
bathtub on a hill?
And how they get the water?
Yes, there you go.
I'm always trying to figure out how they got the water there on
Sounds
the
like a
hill.
lot of effort.
The one I'm close to getting those when there's a middle-aged man. Usually we're talking about erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
If enough of a middle-aged man and then he's watching a woman and she's trying to like caress or soothe them, then I'm like, okay, it's ED here. I think we're in ED. And that's the one I can usually get right. But try this game at home with your significant other. You see one of those commercials, turn off the sound initially and go, babe, can we guess exactly what this product is or what illness it addresses or what condition it addresses just purely based on the visuals. And you're going to be wrong 90% of the time. But it's a fun game to play.
Okay. I
You're
like
going to
it.
be wrong, but it's a fun game to play.
How many of these now too? There's a lot of them now
like
that
it.
have bands performing.
Yeah.
Like at nondescript, they seem like festivals, but they're not. They're just like in a park.
It's like a backyard party.
Yeah,
or
it's
something.
a
like,
backyard
but a lot of them have
party.
bands performing where you're like, are most people in a band that and they're like, I have this problem
Exactly.
and I just can't play.
I do.
There's
I do
one
got
where a
this.
guy
'Cause of
gets a
IBS.
phone call and he's like, yeah. And it's apparently to hop on band with on a stage with the band that is currently playing because he like runs across the city and
yeah,
the
'cause
band's
yes.
already playing.
Whoa, that was Flonase. That was he had
And you're like,
allergies.
dude,
He had allergies.
You're like, I don't think that's allergies. You just have a bad agent, and they're calling you.
last second.
I call it, hey man, we just started our set, and the trumpet player's not here. Come on down, run.
That band doesn't like you. They booking gigs without
And then he
telling
just
you.
runs on stage and is like, yeah, no sound check. I don't need a mic.
Yes.
Just come on, I'll play.
That is great. I can see that one though. I actually know which one you're talking about too. All right, Hart said that was Flow Day. So there you go. You
Yeah.
guys might get the game, but it's always and if sometimes usually with the band or something like that, it could be almost anything. It could be HIV medicine to
yep,
allergy
yep.
medicine to IBS. If you see a band playing, you ain't gonna get it. You ain't got no chance.
No.
You have no
You got
shot.
no shot at all. All right, let's get to. I'm sure that was a terrible segue to the NFL. Actually, we scheduled
actually is a
scheduled
good one.
leakage. Actually, is how we started that
Hey,
conversation.
it's not bad because I will tell you, the only people who watch commercials nowadays are people who watch sports like the NFL.
That is true.
That is
which is why
very
they're
true.
king.
Yeah.
This is why
Yeah.
they're king because it's actually only we figured out now, at least by if you ask all the all of the advertising agencies and all the like the endorsement industry, they'll tell you that people only watch sports live and news live. That's it. News, politics, and sports, and news includes natural disasters or like weather, bad weather, stuff like that. Only
Yep.
two things people watch live. So those things have a lot of value in the advertising realm, and that's why
I like
sports. You can't. I mean, even the Big 12. No matter how bad the sports are, there is a market for it. All right, let's get to the NFL schedule leaks. Like we talked about, the actual schedule release will be unveiled later on today. All right, so here's a few of these games that have been leaked. By the way, the NFL is leaking its own damn games. Like the NFL, the NFL has this legal tampering period because they've recognized that tampering happens regardless. So you know what, we might as well have some fun with it, and they call it their legal tampering period. This is basically their version of kind of they're in on the schedule leaks. Usually somebody outside of the NFL, some reporter who follows the NFL, some beat reporter, or some NFL insider, they're the ones leaking the stories. No, the NFL is actually leaking its own schedule.
Absolutely.
They're like, we're going to take part in the league. But in fact, we are going to beat the insiders and the beat reporters to the leak because we are going to be part of the leakage.
You don't ever see Ian Rappaport giving you that one, though.
Yeah, it's true.
You know
That's
what I'm
a good
saying? They got everybody else doing it.
Man, it is. So
Yeah.
the NFL's, they leaked already. This is from the NFL's website. The Detroit Lions at the Kansas City Chiefs to start out the NFL season. That is the season opener, September 7th. Gentlemen, how you feel about Detroit at Kansas City? Man, you got to give it up for what Dan Campbell has done. And he walks a fine line between being a player's coach and being kind of a hard-nosed, old-school football coach. Usually hard-nosed, old-school football coaches aren't player coaches. He is
Right.
both. And, man, he's really, really cultivated a really good culture there in Detroit. I like the coaches they have there. I think my man Dre Bly's coaching there now. Loves to hire players as his former coaches.
Yeah.
But the offense in Detroit, that is what has really sparked a ton of excitement and optimism because they got a top 5 offense that, trust me, with Jahmyr Gibbs, who I project or hypothesize they want him to be their version of Deebo Samuel, they going to put up some points, and so will Kansas City.
Oh, for sure. You know that Kansas City's going to put up some points. But I think, too, because of the emergence of the Detroit Lions and the way that they've played, the energy that Dan Campbell brings, to your point, and the fact, too, this is going to be a team that now doesn't have to deal with Aaron Rodgers. They might win that division. When you sit back and you think about it, Minnesota is obviously Minnesota. They're going to be okay. But you look at Chicago, they're going to be better. But right now, Detroit is the team that looks the best on paper. You talked about the top 5 offense. You got Jared Goff playing at a high level. That defense swarms to the football.
Yes, it does.
They will come and hit you. I like it. I like it.
An exciting rookie.
Yep.
Because we get to see what Gibbs is going to do.
Yep.
I can't wait to watch Gibbs.
Because that's another one that you go, man, this is a guy that was taken early, that there are reports now that they weren't, that the Lions took him there because other teams were trading up to go get him. So
Yep.
they weren't crazy that they were the only ones who took him that early. Apparently a lot of people really liked him. So that's
Amon-Ra
another
St.
one.
Brown. I mean,
yeah.
you've done a lot. You got some players that are on that squad.
I'm with you. I know I like what the Lions did in the draft, and I think the Lions are getting, obviously, they're getting a lot of respect.
They are.
They're starting off the NFL season. Nobody really saw that coming. The second game the NFL has leaked out, Bills at the Jets. That's September 11th, gentlemen. Obviously, a ton of significance, the anniversary of 9/11. There will be a Monday Night Football debut. 2 New York teams. Makes a lot of sense, and I'm sure honestly, that might be one of the highest rated games of the year just because it'll be the first chance nationally people have to catch Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and you expect Breece Hall to be back. We talked about Garrett Wilson and what he brings to that team. They got Markel Hardeman on that squad as well. They're going to have a track team, too.
Yeah, man.
And Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb's making an appearance, folks. Randall Cobb is
Alan
back.
Lazard.
Alan Lazard.
Don't forget the friends of Aaron Rodgers.
I want to be a best friend of Aaron Rodgers because he's going to get you a job for sure. So you sit there and you look at it, and this defense for them as well, for the Jets, is on the rise as well. But, of course, you look at Buffalo, what they were able to do, Josh Allen, Diggs, everybody that's involved on that team. You got Dalton Kincaid, who was a high draft pick
don't
for
forget
them,
about
too.
that. Good point.
So there is a lot of optimism in Buffalo, and every year they believe that they're going to the Super Bowl. So why not open it up against Aaron Rodgers and already starting yourself into a divisional game?
You can believe you're going to the Super Bowl, but as long as Kansas City's in that conference and Patrick Mahomes is there, and you ain't got a true running game, you probably won't be going to the Super Bowl. I won't put my money on Buffalo until they get a real running game.
Until they get a true running game.
So they get a running back.
Hey, yeah, exactly.
Well, they
still
got
didn't do it.
They picked up Damian Harris. who
but
used to be
Jamie-
with the Patriots. They also
change your
brought
pace
in
back.
Latavius Murray. who's
Change your
still
pace
strong.
back.
Oh, I agree. And they got James Cook.
I mean, you're
You
real
just 'cause you
life.
say his name like that don't make
They
me
got
excited
James
about it.
Cook. They got James Cook.
I don't change the way I feel about it.
And that's the thing. Buffalo, the Chicago has 3 running backs I like better than any of those running backs.
Agreed,
very true.
agreed.
Very true.
Thank
Three.
you.
Very true.
3 of them.
Totally agree. I'm
Hey,
with
it's
you.
not
I
over
take
yet, man.
Rojo
There might
right
be
now.
there might be a trade coming
There
up.
could be a
You never
trade
know-
still.
you
Hey,
never know.
Chicago may trade one because if they got 3, one of them's going to be unhappy by the time. Because you can't play Foreman, Herbert, and Roschon. All I know they say they want to do it by committee, but that's
That's too much of a
And honestly, the
committee.
least likely to be traded would be Rojo because he's
Yeah,
'cause
cheaper
he-
and he just got
And he
there.
just
And
got
it's
there.
probably Deontay is the next
because
least like because he's cheap.
Yeah.
well, he's cheap,
Herbert
but
would be
also
the guy.
but also if you get value for him, he's a 1-year rental, so you
That's
just
true.
go.
That's
We only
the
got it for
point.
one, so we can trade him off, and any value we get, we weren't going to re-sign him anyway.
That's a good point. And he actually is an attractive trade piece because the Cowboys should try to trade for Deontay Foreman. They should have signed him
They
before
should
that.
have signed him. That's right.
Okay,
I'm giving him
internet. Hart's already mad over there. He's like an old man grunt to himself over there, like Ebenezer Scrooge.
It's okay. They got Deuce Vaughn for 40 carries a game.
They got
Yeah,
dudes.
right. He
They got
ain't running
Ronald,
for 40.
Ronald Jones.
Yeah, we
How
got
about
Ronald Jones
they got
for 40.
They got Deuce for 40 carries a game. Ronald Jones ain't see in the field, man.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I still don't know what the hell the Cowboys are doing at running back. But anyway, speaking of the Cowboys, they will play a team. Honestly, if they have the running game of the San Francisco 49ers, maybe they don't need a marquee bell cow running back because they'll play the 49ers October 8th. That'll be Sunday Night Football, gentlemen, Week 5. They're at San Francisco trying to avenge those postseason losses the 49ers have put on them the last couple of years. We talked about this earlier, guys. The 49ers, third best Super Bowl odds right now. At least I looked at it last night. They have the third best Super Bowl odds. We don't even know who the damn quarterback's going to be.
That's very true.
And they're giving them that's how much love. And they lost their OC
That's
to the
very
Texans
true.
and lost the DC to the Texans. And they're still with the top 3 best odds to win the Super Bowl.
That's
Damn.
you know why? Because of the fact that their schedule favors them. That is why you start looking at it. The strength of the schedule right now.
The division is weak. The division is weak. Only Seattle's up. Rams
very
down,
weak.
Cardinals
Yes.
down.
Yes. So that gives them the best options out there. You look at the strength of schedule. Philadelphia has the toughest schedule. That they're at 56%, their opponent's winning percentage. You look at what San Fran is, theirs is 51%. So they are right in the middle of the pack. And we've talked about their defense the entire time. That defense travels no matter what.
Yes,
They
it does.
swarm to the football. They knock you out. And then you got a quarterback that, he thinks that he can make anything happen with any of his quarterbacks. So we'll see there. You still don't know what they're going to do with Trey Lance. They've all talked about it. When Brock Purdy is healthy, he's going to come in as the quarterback. But what if Trey Lance goes out there? You traded a lot to get Trey Lance.
You traded a ton.
So you might want to see what you got. You kick those tires, as they like to speak.
Yeah, because he's only got 420 pass attempts,
Which is
at
ridiculous.
the college and NFL level.
So ridiculous.
When Ryan Tannehill came out and was drafted in the first round, remember he split time as wide receiver and a quarterback in college at A&M. He had 774 pass attempts in college before he got there. Trey Lance has got 420 pass attempts, period, as a quarterback at a high level. That's unbelievable. So I don't know what to think of him. I don't know if he's going to be a bust. I don't know if he's going to be great. I have no idea. There's not enough of a sample size to come to any type of conclusion
No doubt.
on Trey Lance. How could you ever? So that's still up in the air. But anyway, getting back to it, international games were also leaked. The Falcons, this is all London games, by the way. Falcons versus Jags, October 1st. Jags back-to-back international games and back-to-back weeks, I should say, as well. Jags versus Bills, October 8th. The Ravens versus Titans, October 15th. Those are your London games. Germany games will be Miami versus Kansas City, November 5th. Indy versus New England, November 12th. And those are your Germany games.
Yeah. I don't like any of that stuff. I don't
You don't
like
like it?
I don't like. I don't think we. I don't see
The
it.
NFL really wants to have a presence internationally. They are stupefied as to how they could be the most popular American TV show right now. Like 85% of the most watched TV shows last year were NFL broadcasts. How they can be that popular in the American culture, if you will, and not have any footprint or loyalty with a fan base internationally. I think that frustrates the billionaires.
For sure.
And they've gotten on Roger Goodell and said, hey, man, rectify this.
Please.
Get it done.
Yeah.
Because every other sport's getting international money, and we not.
Exactly. So, but for me, it goes back to the fact, too, I don't see how this is helping. I think the biggest thing you need to do, you need to start getting developmental programs over there. Start the youth sports and do that before you start bringing everybody over there, because that's where it happens. The kids over there, they're playing soccer. They're playing other sports. They're playing basketball. They're not playing football because you don't have the developmental part of it. Start there. And then try to cultivate it by bringing other people or do camps over there. Do all that stuff first.
I agree.
Before you start trying to go over there and say, we need to put an NFL team there. Nobody goes. They go and watch it. They plan their trips.
Yeah.
But that's not what they're there
There's
for.
no brand loyalty.
There's no brand.
They don't come
They
back
all
to
have
it.
different jerseys on when you watch them on that Sunday morning when they're over there playing. Everybody comes in with a different jersey on.
And to that point, I agree with you. It's a chicken or the egg. This is the conundrum for the NFL. Because why did you start playing sports? Because you watched somebody play sports,
play it.
and you were
That's
like,
right.
I want to be like so and so. I want to be like Deion. I love Deion Sanders. I played the position Deion played, wore the number. That's what got
Exactly.
me inspired. And I believe that is the case for most young athletes. They get inspired by a great athlete at the highest level. And maybe the NFL, chicken or egg, is saying, you know what, we need one of these kids over there, a great athlete in Germany or in London, to see a Lamar Jackson and go, I want to be that. To hell, I don't want to play soccer. I want to play basketball. No. I want to play Australian football or rugby. No.
Right.
I want to play cricket. I want to play American football. And I'm the best athlete in my school, and that's what I want to play.
Right.
And then almost get inspired to do that. Now, like chicken or the egg, getting back to your point, tough to do that for the LeBron James of his class when I don't have a youth community.
Exactly, to go play against.
Exactly, or I don't have an apparatus in place to be able to, help you develop and cultivate your craft.
Exactly.
So I'm with you. I don't know chicken or the egg. I don't know. which one.
There's also points of the NFL working with people over there that are trying to start leagues and trying to start Pee-wee leagues or whatever they're trying to stop, Pop Warner or whatever they're trying to start over there to get younger leagues. That if Trevor Lawrence goes over and does a meet with the league of kids and he's like, hey man, y'all should stick around and keep playing, and now they all love Trevor Lawrence because they got to meet him, so it makes them stick through years 6, 7, 8, because now they do have somebody that they love. So they're not dropping out, because we all know football. When you play it, when you first start and you get hit a few times, you may be like, cool,
right.
I'm done. I
happens.
I stopped playing because I got multiple concussions. And I didn't know they were at the time, but I was like, this sucks. I don't like this anymore.
No, that's a good point. That's a great point. And to your point about being an ambassador basically for the game, that's what the NBA does.
Right.
They send those guys over to China. They send them over to different countries in Europe. We're not getting political here.
Right.
They send them to different countries, and basically they go over there on these kind of ambassador type missions for the NBA, and they play exhibition games, and they sign a lot of autographs, and usually a lot of the shoe companies are behind it too, and they promote their brand and promote the NBA's brand. And it does. And it's helped the NBA because look at all the great players in the NBA.
Yeah.
Most of them
Yeah,
are
it's called Basketball Without Borders.
Yeah.
Basketball without borders.
It's a program that they do. It's Basketball Without
It's
Borders.
been around for like 40 years now, something.
Yeah.
Right? It's been around for a long time.
Yeah,
Like
because
Elijah One days, way back
Yeah,
then.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because and it was when they did when the Dream Team came out. That was when it started to grow of people being like, "Oh, okay, I want to be part of it." And then those guys would come over, and you saw them on the Dream Team, and they were. That was the first time I think a lot of those kids saw them as these are the best players in the world.
Yep.
Because they just beat every other country, and so I think the NFL they're trying to be like, we got to show them how great we are. And if we only send over our worst teams, then we're not necessarily showcasing them. So we
I'm
send
with you.
over the
Great point.
Chiefs. And we send over a young, Trevor Lawrence. We send
Ravens,
over
Lamar Jackson.
We send over guys that'll make them be inspired. It's better than be like, hey man, here's the guys that agreed to go.
Right.
That is a great point. Yeah, it's like, guys, we got to grow the game. You guys are the ambassadors of the sport. No, you guys are the biggest stars of the sport. You're going to inspire the next generation of international athletes
Absolutely.
who may want to play American football.
Yeah, I mean, how many players in the NBA love Kobe Bryant?
Yep.
And they're like, Kobe's the reason why I play. How many of them are like, man, that bench warmer, Gerald King, dude. Gerald King, he played like 6 minutes.
Say who?
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You're not going after. People don't go, man, I really want to play defense because of Bruce Bowen.
Yep. You're
No,
right
you're
about that.
totally right. So you can't show them technically good players that are good enough to make the NFL. You have to send
Right.
over the Chiefs and be like, these are the Super Bowl champions.
And I think they figured that out now because, yeah, it used to be a lackluster array of games, and now these are some sexy matchups, man. You know, but Miami
It's
versus
definitely
Kansas
sexy,
City.
but I think
That's
it's
sexy.
terrible for the NFL, the home games.
Yes, it is.
You know, that's why they were sending Jacksonville over there because a lot of people are like, it's Jacksonville. We're not going to be losing much over
But I
there.
think now these teams, they understand what that owner of Jacksonville was trying to do
Yeah.
with Rashid Khan. He's
Shahid
like,
Khan,
you know,
yeah.
I don't mind being the biggest NFL team in China or in Germany because I make a lot of money
Right.
off merchandising if none of y'all want access to that international money. I'll take it. I'll be the highest, the most popular and the highest selling merchandising team in Germany or London. I'll take it because you know what? That's a lot of money.
It is.
And NFL team's like, yeah, you know what? I want some of that.
Yeah, I need all of that.
I want a little piece of that Germany, a little London. So that's the part. I mean, the Rockets, I remember when they got Yao Ming and they became such a big international hit over in China and everything. And it was huge. And a big part of it was because they have a huge Asian community in Houston, like one of the biggest in the world, actually, in Houston. And that was a big part of why they drafted Yao Ming. And you can debate on whether they got return on their investment. But it was a big part of they wanted to grow their brand internationally. And it is. The Rockets are still one of the biggest international brands out there because of Yao Ming. And they don't even win a lot.
Yeah.
It's because of Yao. Anyway, getting back to it, Black Friday, because the NFL thinks of the sports calendar as a monopoly board, and they want their property and your property too. Black Friday games now, Miami at the Jets. That's a really good game. And also, they're going to have, that's going to be November 24th, but on December 3rd, you have San Fran at Philly. That's a good game. And Christmas Day, also, the NFL wants a piece of that too.
Yeah, they want all of it.
They want all of it. All your holidays, the NFL's like, no, we want y'all celebrating with us. They got Las Vegas at Kansas City, the Giants at Philly, and New Year's Eve, another holiday the NFL wants part of, Cincinnati at Kansas City for December 31st.
Right.
So those are your the leaks, the NFL schedule leaks so far. Oh, for Cowboys, just real quick, Cowboys fans, these are just rumors right now, but it was announced that at least it was announced, it was rumored to be the Cardinals season ticket holders are going to have a home schedule game. Apparently their home schedule was leaked, and the Dallas Cowboys rumored to be visiting them in week 3. Like I said, that's just for rumor.
I like that.
W fans Brandon Tierney has reported the Cowboys will visit the Giants in week 1 on Sunday Night Football. Cowboys will host Washington Commanders, reports J.P. Finley on Thanksgiving Day. And also there is some chatter that Aaron Rodgers and the Jets will visit the Cowboys in week 2. And also, like we said, in week 18, there's another report out there that the Cowboys will play the Commanders just as they did last season.
I hope that Cowboys, if it is in Arizona, and I hope it's a 12 noon game, because if that's the case, I'm going.
You going?
I'm going to Arizona for that.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
There you
I'll go out there for that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. See, you going to? You know
I'll
what?
fly right back that
I
night
was gonna
too.
say, yeah, no, take
I'll
some
fly-
time.
No, I'm flying right back. I ain't sticking around out there. That's why I needed to be a noon game.
Noon game.
Yeah.
Get in and get out.
Get
A
out of
quickie.
there. That's right.
All right, we come back. We'll get into a couple stories I wanted to hit that we didn't hit. So we'll hit this DeMarvion Overshown story and this Shaq Mason story about the Texans. So a couple of more NFL news, notes, and nuggets before we get out of here. Right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new theme Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's when Patrick plays jams that are supposed to leave clues and breadcrumbs behind for Harge and I to lead us to the new theme of the day. And today's new theme, pretty easy, and Harge got it on the first guess. Pretty easy for him, I should say that. Inspired by the schedule release day, NFL schedule day. It's about songs that reference special dates. Days, times, months, years, because today is a very special day. That's the new theme of New Theme Thursday. It was a special day for DeMarvion Overshown when he was drafted, gentlemen. Of course it was. He was drafted 90th overall to them Dallas Cowboys. A special day for him. And I read an article at DallasCowboys.com about how DeMarvion Overshown now essentially has kind of been bumped up in the priority list for the Dallas Cowboys since they moved Micah Parsons to edge full time. The Dallas Cowboys have not yet confirmed that, but we know Micah Parsons here in Austin, working out at the Collective, by the way, that he actually reported and revealed that he was going to be moving to the edge position full time. As a matter of fact, that's why he was training at the Collective. He was trying to put on some weight, some really basic muscle, to try to make sure that he could deal with all of the wear and tear of playing defensive end and going up against 300-pound offensive linemen. Sidebar, Harge and Patrick, did y'all see the video of Deuce Vaughn, Jamar Chase, and Micah Parsons running basically their equivalent of a 5-10-5 drill at the Collective?
Yes, sir.
That was pretty amazing because Micah was, I don't know if he won,
Winner.
but if he didn't win, he was right. He's tied for the.
It was a photo finish.
Yeah, if he didn't
Let's
win.
say that. It was a photo finish.
With Deuce Vaughn and Jamar Chase.
Yes. His change of direction is something to talk about because of the fact
freaky,
that
man.
when you look at how these guys can move in that short shuttle distance,
Wow.
it's so impressive.
So
Because you can't get away from them.
when you think about him going up against a 300-pound
That's
man,
what I'm saying. You can't get away from them.
it's unbelievable. He's actually working with the retired L.A. Rams offensive lineman. Man, his name escapes me right now. Super Bowl champion, what's his name? Whitworth. He's there at the
Ooh,
Collective,
Andrew-
too.
oh,
he was
Andrew
there
Whitworth.
working with Andrew Whitworth there. I don't know why he was in town. Seems like everybody's in town in Austin. They use
it's
this
Austin, Texas,
excuse to come
baby.
hang out in Austin. But getting back to DeMarvion Overshown, so this article, it said basically that DeMarvion Overshown now is a key player in terms of building depth at linebacker position for the Cowboys because we know that Micah Parsons will no longer be a member of that linebacking core. When Overshown was asked how they're going to use him, he said, quote, any and everywhere. Right now, starting with the will position, weak side linebacker. But Dan Quinn has a plan for me. Just moving me around. What I was doing in college is kind of what they see with the Dallas defense. Moving a lot of plays around and playing along the big guys off the edge. I know Coach Quinn has a plan for me. And like I said, I'm so excited to work. And whatever they need me to do, I'm going to do. There's also a Jeremy Fowler article, ESPN Insider, who also brought up DeMarvion Overshown and said the Cowboys are high on their third-round pick, DeMarvion Overshown. And Jeremy Fowler said he understands Overshown will play a lot as a rookie, but also that the Cowboys believe he can develop into an all-down linebacker or every down linebacker because of his speed. He said Quinn's defense is all about rallying to the football and hitting ball carriers. And by the way, that's what Quinn brought up too. Dan Quinn, he said, I love the way he strikes ball carriers. And it says here in this Jeremy Fowler piece that basically Overshown's versatility was what stood out to them, and they plan on using, or at least Jeremy Fowler states, the Cowboys plan on using him a lot early on. And how about this? Overshown likely won't play heavy snaps right away, but Quinn clearly has a vision for the player, and it wouldn't be surprising if he eventually supplanted Damone Clark as the starting will linebacker with Leighton Vander Esch.
That's something we've been talking about.
Wow.
The athleticism is the key for him. He's that guy that can play safety for you. He can come down and be a linebacker for you. He can come and rush the quarterback for you. He's a jackknife. He can go out there and do everything that you want for him. Swiss Army knife, not jackknife. Jackknife is
Hey, he can be a jackknife too.
He can be that too,
He can
depending on
jackknife
how he
something.
gets there, right? Depending on how he gets there. But yes, this is something that as you sit and think about how can he be used, Dan Quinn is the one that can show you how he can be used.
And if you actually track the linebackers that the Cowboys have been drafting or acquiring lately, they do kind of all fit the same mold. DeMarvin Overshown, 6'3", 220, hybrid that played safety. Devin Harper, the Oklahoma State linebacker they brought in, he's 6 foot 240. But remember, Oklahoma State admittedly that they said, and Coach Gundy said this, that they stopped recruiting specific body types for positions out of high school and just started recruiting just skill sets and started recruiting upside. So they went into a positionless football type of mentality in their recruiting, and that was probably like 5 or 8 years ago, and Devin Harper falls into that, and we know obviously Dan Quinn loves positionless football players. Jabril Cox, best coverage linebacker coming out of LSU the year the Cowboys drafted him. And you go look at Malik Jefferson. Remember, they acquired Malik Jefferson. He's still there, I believe. 6'2", 235. We all know he could run. 4'5", 240. And he was a guy that moved around for Texas somewhat, too. So he's got a type at linebacker, and Overshown fits it.
Oh, he's definitely the one that is going to fit the best right there.
Okay, one other quick story before we get out of here. Shaq Mason signed an extension with the Houston Texans. He is their offensive guard. They acquired him via a trade, I believe, and he is now signed an extension, which means the Texans have one of the most expensive offensive lines in all of the NFL. Now they have. You got Kenyon Green, who's going to be there. He's a rookie that they drafted in the first round last year, so he's going to be there for the foreseeable future. You'll also end up with Titus Howard. He's there to 2023. They got to sign him to an extension because he's there through 2023, so he'll be a free agent next season. Shaq Mason now, 2026. Laramie Tunsil signed through 2026. And I said Kenyon Green, he signed through 2025. So most of the O-line is locked up at least till 2025, except for Titus Howard. That's the one they got to figure out.
Yeah, Shaq Mason was acquired. It was Shaq Mason and a 7th to Houston Texans in exchange for a 6th-round pick.
That's cheap.
So really did not give out much for him. Basically, Tampa Bay did not want to pay him with the contract extension he wanted. So you were able to get him for very, very cheap, which makes the money you spend not so bad because you didn't have to give up draft capital really to get him. So it's basically you signed Shaq Mason as a free agent in this deal.
A starting, guy had a Pro Bowl caliber starter with New England Patriots, but was a starting caliber
Still
guard.
Only 29 years old, so still has some good years left in him. I love it for trying to protect your rookie quarterback.
That O-line, it's impressive. It's a good O-line. I don't know what they're going to do about Titus Howard. I assume they're going to try to lock him up next. But, man, C.J. Stroud will have one of the most stable offensive lines in the NFL when he takes over the starting job. So that is
no doubt.
And they got a running game because Dameon Pierce can run the rock, man. He really can. So excited about the Texans making moves for to protect their young quarterback. All right, we come back. We'll wrap it up. We'll put it in the oven, let you know what's on tap right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Getting ready to wrap it up and put it in the oven. Before we let you know what's on tap, go to hornfm.com. If you miss any part of the shows, you just go there right there and check out the podcast page. Before we get out of here, got to remind you what's coming up next. You got the Longhorn Blitz podcast with myself, my man Matt Butler, and Jeff Howe of Horns 24/7. And then my man Patrick. That's right. Coming up, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. And you know that schedule will be out by then.
Oh,
That's right.
We'll have an official schedule talk.
We'll have an official. And you know the Texans will be a part of that discussion.
Hopefully the Texans.
Because he's back.
He is back. Official Texans fandom represented by my man Patrick. So Instant Series will be at 8 p.m. tonight, and he'll be on talking about a lot of the NFL schedule release because it'll be happening as he is on the air. Okay, real quick, what's on tap for you tonight? Because you got a lot of stuff to choose from.
There's a lot going on. I'm going to go across the street right now and check out Westlake Baseball. They're in their playoff game right now against San Antonio Brandeis, but then I'm going to go home and watch and see what this basketball going to look like tonight.
Yeah.
What KD are we going to get tonight, guys?
You need KD and Devin Booker.
Hey,
Yeah.
you need Devin Booker. You need Devin Booker to go off for 60 tonight.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
That's because Joker going to have 70.
Joker's going to go off.
No DeAndre Ayton tonight.
No
Right.
DeAndre Ayton, and Jamal Murray is questionable last I saw.
Yeah, no CP3 as well. So on tap for you got Instant Series coming up.
Instant Series and then basketball.
All right, what's on tap for me? I'm watching a lot of basketball, but I'll probably catch some of that schedule release too. We'll come back tomorrow and we'll do it again, folks. Thank you for your participation. Remember, the revolution will not be televised. We'll be talking about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves, but more importantly, take care of each other. Peace.